Chapter 3099. That's for the best. You're not weak, young master. Dongfeng Song nodded. Mother asterisk her. Who do you think you are? Using a chicken feather as a token of authority, like a fox borrowing the tiger's might. Dongfeng Burua inwardly despised Dongfeng Song. You're still trying to negotiate with me? Wait till I sit in the position of young patriarch. See how I deal with you. However, on the surface, Dongfeng Buqiu didn't show it. He was impatient. He followed Su Shirhan's manager, Sister Wang, and found her location. However, Dongfeng Buqiu didn't act rashly. He knew his own strength. Although he felt that Su Shirhan shouldn't have any powerful people around her, he was a person who cherished his life. So, after finding out her location, he returned to the hotel and waited for Dongfeng Song. In the blink of an eye, it was evening. The Supreme Elder brought the black-clothed elder back to Lin Yi's villa. This time, Lin Yi directly opened the door and let the Grand Elder in. You're here? Have you thought it through? Meng Yao, after some consideration, I can agree to your conditions. The Grand Elder suddenly changed the topic. But your father, Yuan must always be an honorary elder of the Palace of Darkness, and cannot leave the Palace of Darkness. Of course, she can live in the secular world. Meng Yao nodded. She knew that the Grand Elder had compromised, and this was the best way. It was impossible for her mother to leave the Palace of Darkness completely. Okay, that's not a problem, as long as my mother comes back. Meng Yao nodded. All right, tell me more about the inheritors of the Dark Phoenix bloodline. What am I going to do after I go there? How am I going to do it? Moreover, after I became the inheritor, what are they going to do? I hope that Grand Elder won't hide anything from me. Tell me everything. This. The Grand Elder hesitated. Meng Yao had told him what she had to do and how she had to do it. And that was fine, but it was hard to say what she had to do after becoming an inheritor. It was dangerous, and the Grand Elder was afraid that Meng Yao would change her mind if he told her. Grand Elder, since I promised you, he would not go back on his word. I just want to know. Meng Yao said with determination. All right, since that's the case, I'll tell you about it. The Grand Elder had no other choice. He could only nod, go to the Palace of Darkness. In truth, he was cultivating in one of the residences in the Dark Phoenix mountain range. During his cultivation, he would comprehend the metal-type inheritance of the Dark Phoenix mountain range. You should know that the Dark Phoenix bloodline belongs to the metal element. However, the inheritance we obtained is the Dark Phoenix inheritance, not the metal element inheritance. Instead, we awaken the Dark Phoenix bloodline in our bodies to activate the metal element. In this world, there are very few people with the Dark Phoenix bloodline. Usually, their ancestors obtained it by chance, and then passed it on through the only method of blood relatives. Therefore, there are very few people who can be used as a reference. Only your mother, Yuan. I hope you can have a good chat with her. At least, I haven't discovered any other Dark Phoenix bloodline yet. The Grand Elder thought that she'd find a new inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline, but she didn't expect it to be Meng Yao. She'd seen Meng Yao when she was young, and the Dark Phoenix bloodline was already pitifully low. There was no use at all. So how did it become so pure all of a sudden? Meng Yao nodded. All right, I'll have a good chat with my mother. But with the purity of the Dark Phoenix bloodline in your body, you'll be able to accept the inheritance. The Grand Elder comforted. But why is your bloodline so pure? Could it be that something has happened? The Grand Elder seemed to be asking casually, but she was actually trying to find out the reason, to give the Palace of Darkness a way out. If they could find out how to purify the Dark Phoenix bloodline, then the Palace of Darkness future would be guaranteed. It had to be said that although the Supreme Elder was very sinister, ruthless, and unreasonable, he was loyal and devoted to the sect. He did not have any selfish motives. I swallowed a black phoenix. Meng Yao didn't hide anything. What? You swallowed a Dark Phoenix? The Grand Elder jumped as she thought of something, Could it be that the Dark Phoenix from before was bought by you guys? That's right, I bought it, Linny nodded. Could it be that swallowing a Dark Phoenix can purify the Dark Phoenix bloodline? It's not purified. It means that a person without the Dark Phoenix bloodline will have it after swallowing a Dark Phoenix. The Grand Elder was a little excited. Meng Yao was the first generation of the Dark Phoenix bloodline, and Meng Yao's children would be able to inherit the Dark Phoenix bloodline and become inheritors. Even if they didn't have the chance to participate in the Sky-class island project, becoming an inheritor would be beneficial as well. They'd be able to smoothly raise their strength to Sky-class late phase peak, ensuring the overall strength of the Palace of Darkness. Of course, the disappointing thing was that Meng Yao's method of inheriting the Dark Phoenix bloodline wasn't something that could be replicated or referenced. All the disciples of the Palace of Darkness knew that the first inheritor of the Dark Phoenix bloodline was born after swallowing a Dark Phoenix. But Dark Phoenixes were very rare, and it took hundreds of years to find one. Meng Yao had swallowed one by chance, and it seemed like she was quite lucky. I see. Meng Yao nodded. No wonder you didn't take me with you before. Meng Yao felt that she was quite lucky. At least she'd lived in the common world for so many years, and she'd even met Lin Shu. I'm crying. Yao Yao sis prioritizes love over friendship. Yes, let's not talk about the past. Let's talk about the present. Now that you're in the Palace of Darkness, there's practically no danger when it comes to training. It could even be described as a smooth journey. After all, inheritors who have received the inheritance have no barriers. The Grand Elder said, the only thing you're worried about is what you're going to do and where you're going. To be honest, I'm not too sure about that myself, but it's said that there's a Sky-class island project, allowing all Sky-class late phase peak to have a chance of breaking through to Heavenly Tao. I heard that there'll be some danger when the Sky-class island project opens, but I'm not sure what it is exactly. Chapter 30-100. The situation was similar to what the Grand Elder had said. There was some danger, but they didn't know what the danger was. Thinking about it, the Grand Elder and the Ice Palace Shuegu knew about the same, so Meng Yao didn't ask anymore. She nodded and said, and I'm saying if Lin Yi's strength reached that level, would he be able to help me at the last moment? I'm not too sure. The Supreme Elder shook his head and said, but according to the rumors, even us peak late phase heaven rank and great perfection heaven rank experts can't get involved because our physiques aren't suitable. Going would just be throwing away our lives. Meng Yao was silent. What she wanted the most was for Lin Yi to help them at the last moment, but now it seemed that it wouldn't be possible. Even the Grand Elder couldn't interfere, let alone Lin Yi. On the other hand, Lin Yi smiled and didn't say anything. In fact, only Lin Yi knew that others couldn't, but he definitely could. Because Tagan Dragon could do it, he definitely could. Tagan Dragon had 5 elements and 5 elements, and Lin Yi had 7 elements. He had 2 more elements than Tagan Dragon, so Lin Yi wouldn't be a problem at the last moment. However, Lin Yi couldn't say this. This was a secret, and Lin Yi didn't want others to know too early. Tian Chan knew, but Tian Chan wouldn't say it. Lin Yi still trusted her, but he didn't trust the Grand Elder at all. Yao Yao, it's fine. I'll be there to cheer for you when the time comes. Lin Yi smiled and said, okay, that's good. Meng Yao breathed a sigh of relief. In fact, she was just a little worried. She was relieved that Lin Yi said that. Meng Yao could vaguely guess what was going on. She also knew about Lin Yi's physique. She had also heard about Little One and Little 11 going to look for Sun Jingyi to heal Tagan Dragon. Tagan Dragon's physique was similar to Lin Yi's. So, since Tagan Dragon was an important member of the future Heaven Island plan, Lin Yi should also be able to go, so there shouldn't be a problem. Of course, the Miss and Lin Yi were on the same side, but she didn't have any sense of belonging to the Palace of Darkness. She would never tell the Grand Elder about this. Since that's the case, when can you come with us? The Grand Elder looked at Meng Yao expectantly. Naturally, she wanted it to be as soon as possible, but she was afraid that Meng Yao wouldn't leave immediately. "Today, let's go." Meng Yao took a deep breath and gritted her teeth. She had to leave sooner or later, and there was no point in staying here for a day or two. The Grand Elder also allowed her to contact Lin, Yi, and Shu. When Lin, Yi, and Shu missed her, they could go to the Palace of Darkness to visit her. She could also go to the Palace of Darkness to see her. So, since Meng Yao had decided she'd leave tonight, that's great. The Grand Elder was overjoyed after hearing Meng Yao's words. But at this moment, there was a loud bang, and the villa's door was kicked open. The Grand Elder was too excited and didn't notice the person outside. So when the door was kicked open, she froze. On the other hand, it was Lin Yi. He had felt someone coming earlier, but Lin Yi didn't know if it was for the Grand Elder or himself. However, the jade didn't warn him, which meant that there wasn't any actual danger. As expected, when Lin Yi saw their strength, he didn't put them in his eyes at all. An Earth-class late-phase peak and a Sky-class mid-phase, they were nothing in Lin Yi's hands. The jade warned him based on actual danger, and if it wasn't a threat to him, the jade wouldn't warn him as his strength increased. This was a bit smart. Dongfang Song, go, capture them. Naturally, it was Dongfang Burue. He brought Dongfang Song and broke into Lin Yi's villa to capture Su Shirhan. As far as he was concerned, everyone in the villa was from the common world, so he didn't put them in his eyes. But when Dongfang Burue, other than Su Shirhan, there were two super beauties on the sofa, and his eyes lit up. He called out to Dongfang Song, "Dongfang Song, we can't let these two go." I didn't get to have fun before, but this time I'm going to have fun, especially these two girls. I want to have sex 3 times in one night. Yes, young Master Burue Dongfang Song nodded, since there were people related to Su Shirhan, even though Dongfang Jinxing had told him to cooperate with Dongfang Burue to capture Su Shirhan. He also said that he could deal with the people around Su Shirhan. So he'd capture them as well. This way he wouldn't go against Dongfang Jinxing's wishes, and he wouldn't offend Dongfang Burue, why not? And so, in the next moment, Dongfang Song grabbed towards Meng Yao and Shirhan. As for the Grand Elder, Dongfang Song didn't care about it at all. In his eyes, she was just an old granny. Maybe she was the nanny of the villa. He was guarding against Lin Yi and the black-clothed elder. From what he could see, these two might be Su Shirhan's bodyguards, so Dongfang Song didn't hide his strength at all. His Sky-class mid-phase strength was on full display. "What are you guys doing?" The Grand Elder saw that Dongfang Song was going to grab Meng Yao, and she was enraged. Dongfang House is here to do something. Those who don't have anything to do with it, scram or die. Dongfang Song humphed coldly and said to the Grand Elder. In his eyes, the Grand Elder was the nanny of the villa, and the ignorant knew no fear. What? The Grand Elder was completely stunned. Fuck, your Dongfang House was indeed stronger than the Dark Palace. That was undeniable, but even if they were stronger, they couldn't bully us over and over again. Earlier, I killed your elder Dongfang Cha, but I've already made a statement because he captured the inheritor of the Dark Palace, and now you guys sent a Sky-class mid-phase master to capture her. They didn't even put the Dark Palace and the inheritor in their eyes at all. If the inheritor was just from the Dark Palace, then it'd be fine. But this was related to the benefits of so many ancient sects. Your Dongfang House was too arrogant, wasn't it? Were they looking to die? Do you dare touch one of them? The Grand Elder's face was green as he said darkly. Chapter 30, 101. In Dongfang Song's eyes, the Grand Elder was just a mortal, and it didn't matter if he died. You're courting death. The Supreme Elder was about to go berserk. With your strength, you want to kill this old body? I'll send you to hell first. The Grand Elder's fingers shook and slapped her waist, and a red silk flew towards Dongfang Song. Dongfang Song's eyes suddenly congealed, full of shock and disbelief. He seemed to understand something in an instant, but it was too late to dodge. Bang! The red silk hit Dongfang Song's body, and his whole body was sent flying. He crashed into the wall of the villa, twitched a few times, and then fell to the ground dead. Dongfang Barua was dumbfounded. Sky class late phase peak? How was this Su Shirhan so strong? How did she have a bodyguard like this? How was he supposed to capture her? A sky class late phase peak wouldn't do anything to him, right? It wouldn't kill him, would it? You're Dongfang Barua from the Dongfang family? The Grand Elder was furious, but she knew that some people could be killed and some couldn't. Dongfang Barua was the main culprit, but he was the only heir of the Dongfang family. If the Grand Elder killed him, then no matter what, the Dongfang family and the Dark Palace wouldn't rest until one of them was dead. So the Grand Elder did make a move and only asked, "I am you don't kill me." Dongfang Barua shivered and took 2 steps back. He wanted to run, but he didn't dare. Your Dongfang family keeps trying to capture my inheritor. What's the meaning of this? Do you have some sort of special hobby? The Grand Elder was furious, seeing that we're both in the ancient level. I'll let you go this time. I'll let you go. Dongfang is not weak, right? Go back and tell Dongfang Jinxing don't go too far. The inheritor of the Dark Palace is involved in the interests of the entire ancient level, and your Dongfang family is no exception. I hope you don't cause any trouble, or you'll be the enemy of the entire ancient level. Ah. This time, Dongfang Barua finally understood what was going on. This old lady wasn't a master hired by Su Shirhan, but someone who went to the villa to find an inheritor. It seemed like that inheritor was one of the 2 girls he wanted Dongfang to capture. Did Dongfang Cha die because of this? Not Weak felt the urge to cry. How unlucky was he? Su Shirhan could have stayed at anyone's house, but it had to be the inheritor's house. He hadn't even seen Meng Yao and Yushu before. Of course, they didn't know that Dongfang Cha had found them. In the end, he came to his door and wanted to capture him. It would be strange if the Great Elder of the Dark Palace wasn't angry, but this was a complete misunderstanding. I'm sorry. I'll leave now. Dongfang Barua cried out in his heart. However, there was nothing he could do. After all, even if he wanted to explain, he had to get the Grand Elder to believe him. Plus, he didn't reveal that he was here to deal with Su Shirhan. He was afraid that Su Shirhan would be alarmed and move away from here, and he wouldn't be able to find her next time. So, Dongfang Barua only apologized and didn't even mention anything about Su Shirhan. Bring this corpse along. I don't want to see you again. The Great Elder waved his hand and said, Yes. Dongfang Barua quickly picked up Dongfang Song's body and left the villa. The Great Elder shook his head as he watched Dongfang Barua's departing figure. He sighed to himself. Even though he had spared Dongfang Barua's life, he had now formed a grudge with the Dongfang clan. He wondered if the Dongfang clan would take this lying down. But killing one didn't matter, killing 2 didn't matter. He'd killed one and he'd made enemies. Killing Dongfang Song in front of Meng Yao was also a way to prove to Meng Yao how important she was to the Great Elder. And in the future, Palace of Dark Palace wouldn't mistreat her. However, the Supreme Elder was incomparably astonished. The Dongfang clan didn't seem to be retarded or arrogant. I've already made an announcement, and they know that I'm here to look for an inheritor. Yet, Dongfang Barua actually brought another person here to capture the inheritor. What's going on? Lin Yi frowned as well. As far as he could see, the shock and helplessness on Dongfang Barua's face was an act. This kid wasn't that scheming. It seemed like Dongfang Barua's target this time was Su Shirhan and not Meng Yao and Yushu. As for the order to capture Meng Yao and Yushu, it was just a spur-of-the-moment decision, and the Great Elder misunderstood. He thought that House Dongfang was here to capture Meng Yao, and so another person from House Dongfang died. Come to think of it, House Dongfang was quite pitiful, losing quite a few people in a short period of time. The point was, someone else did it for Lin Yi before he could even make a move. This saved Lin Yi quite a bit of effort. At the very least, House Dongfang wouldn't notice him yet, and he could hide behind the scenes to protect Shirhan. What if House Dongfang sent out a sky-class late phase or peak late phase if he was exposed? That wasn't something Lin Yi wanted to see. Lin Yi's current strength wasn't enough to deal with a sky-class late phase or higher, and so, with the Great Elder taking the blame, Lin Yi was more than happy to be at peace. Meng Yao, you've seen it for yourself. I made House Dongfang my enemy just to protect you, killing their practitioners. You should know how important you are to me now, right? The elder said to Meng Yao. Okay then, let's go. Meng Yao naturally knew that today's matter was a misunderstanding because she knew about Shirhan's situation, but she didn't say much. After all, her relationship with the Palace of Darkness could only be a cooperative relationship. But I'm the Palace Master now, right? That's right. You are the new Palace Master of Darkness. The Great Elder nodded. Then I need to clarify, who's the Palace Master or the Great Elder? Meng Yao looked at the Great Elder and asked. Naturally, the Palace Master is the Palace Master. In the Palace of Darkness, the Palace Master is the second most powerful person other than me. The Great Elder quickly said, Of course, this power was given by the Great Elder. And if she said that Meng Yao had the power, then she had it. The previous Palace Master, Wan wasn't even as powerful as a normal elder, but Meng Yao was going to rewrite history. How could the Miss be bullied so easily? Chapter 3102. Oh, if that's the case, Hei, you have a disciple named Zhao Qibing, right? Meng Yao turned to the elder and asked faintly. Yes, Palace Master. The elder sweated as he replied. He could tell that Meng Yao wasn't a pushover. Even the Grand Elder didn't dare mess with her. She was completely different from the Yi, Wan, from before. So the elder didn't dare to be slow. Oh, I don't like him. From tomorrow onwards, let him clean the toilets in the palace. Meng Yao said, That's... The elder still had high hopes for Qibing, and he'd wanted Qibing to be his inheritor. He didn't want to be sent to clean the toilets, just like that. He didn't want to. Hey, you're not willing? The Miss face turned cold. Hey, you don't want to be an elder anymore. If he doesn't want to clean, you clean with him. The Grand Elder panicked. He'd spent so much effort convincing Meng Yao, and now she was going back to the palace. What was she doing here? Did she want to die? Yes. Then let Qibing go clean the toilet. The black-clothed elder jumped in fright and quickly said, Okay. Meng Yao nodded, her face softening. As for Qibing, the Miss didn't like him for a long time, but she didn't bring it up to the Grand Elder. After all, punishing Qibing was a piece of cake for the Miss who'd become the Palace Master of the Dark Palace. There was no need to bring it up. She only had one condition, and the Grand Elder had to agree to it whether he wanted to or not. If there were too many conditions, the Grand Elder would have to agree to one or two of them. Meng Yao couldn't do anything about the rest. This was the eldest Mrs. Cleverness. Of course, the Miss didn't kick Zhao Qibing out of the Palace of Darkness. This kid was too evil, and Meng Yao wanted to keep him under her eyelids. If he did anything reckless, she'd be able to find out immediately. She'd also be able to deal with him in different ways, so she could vent some of her anger. Then can we leave now? The Grand Elder asked. Missy nodded her head and looked at the villa reluctantly. With one last look, he smiled at Lin Yi, Shu, and Su Shirhan before turning around and walking out of the mansion. Goodbye, Meng Yao said in her heart. But I'll reach Sky Class Late Phase Peak soon. At that time, I'll be in charge of the Palace of Darkness. At that time, no one will be able to stop me from returning. Yao Yao. Yushu's eyes were red, and she couldn't help but call out. Meng Yao's footsteps paused as she walked out of the villa. He turned around and looked at Shu. Shu, listen to me. I'm leaving, but I can still come back. In the future, don't mess around anymore. Listen to Lin Yi at home, do you hear me? Oh, Yushu nodded obediently. Lin Yi, goodbye. Take care of Shu for me. I'll leave her to you. Meng Yao wanted to leave, but Shu stopped her. She turned around and looked at Lin Yi. Her heart was filled with reluctance. This was the sadness of being separated from a loved one. At this moment, the Missy finally understood how much she missed Lin Yi and how much she didn't want to leave him. I like him. Yes, I like him. Meng Yao's heart was set in stone at that moment. Most of the time, you only know how important something is after you lose it. So, I do like him, don't worry. Lin Yi nodded. Lin. Meng Yao gritted her teeth. After understanding her feelings, she didn't want to leave with any regrets. She wanted to tell Lin Yi her feelings, but she couldn't bring herself to say it. At this moment, Meng Yao suddenly felt a little annoyed. Damn Shu, you're so good at normal times, but you always drop the ball at critical times. You can't say, oh, Yao Yao sis Mrs. Shield bro and doesn't want to leave. At that moment, the Missy would nod shyly and say yes. But Shu didn't say it. Meng Yao really wanted to choke her to death. Huh. Lin Yi looked at the Missy, who had a slight change in expression. He didn't know what was wrong with her. Drop the ball at critical times, Shu. Meng Yao glared at Shu and stomped her feet. She turned around and prepared to leave. She couldn't say what was on her mind. The Missy was a shy person. Oh. Shu didn't know what was going on. Why was Yao Yao scolding her when she was about to leave? What was going on? However, Shu wasn't stupid. She knew Meng Yao better than Lin Yi. After all, they had lived together for so many years. Oh, Yao Yao sis, don't worry. I'll guard the door for you. I won't let anyone take away your position as the first wife. Lin Yi looked at Shu and felt strange. She was about to leave. Why was Shu still joking around? However, what surprised Lin Yi even more was yet to come. The Missy blushed and nodded lightly. She let out a soft voice. N. Lin Yi was stunned. Although Meng Yao's voice was soft, he was a sky class master. He heard her clearly. After a moment, Lin Yi's heart seemed to be touched by something. It turned out that the eldest miss liked him. This N represented thousands of words. Lin Yi understood Meng Yao's feelings. Yao Yao. In Lin Yi's heart, it was impossible to say that he didn't like the Missy. They had been together for so long. Everyone had feelings. Moreover, they had experienced so much together. It was just that Lin Yi wasn't sure about the Missy's feelings in the past. Meng Yao smiled shyly and turned around. Before she left, she said softly, Lin Yi, I like you. Meng Yao let go of the stone in her heart. At this moment, she felt much more relaxed. After she finished her sentence, she didn't look at Lin Yi. She quickly disappeared into the night. Me too, Lin Yi said to Meng Yao's back. I'll go and see you. Actually, I had a good impression of you when I first came to Songshan. Lin Yi's affirmation made Meng Yao very happy. However, she didn't stop. She was afraid that if she stopped, she wouldn't be able to walk anymore. When he first came to Songshan, didn't that mean that Lin Yi liked her earlier than Tang Yin? Meng Yao's heart was filled with happiness. It was as sweet as eating honey. Chapter 3103. And now she had to leave. Going to the Palace of Dark Nights, it'd be hard to see Lin Yi again. Although she and the Grand Elder had gotten their freedom, Meng Yao couldn't go out of the common world all the time. There was a limit to everything, and Meng Yao wasn't going to challenge the Grand Elder's mental limit just because of that. She could tell that the Grand Elder of the Palace of Dark Nights was different from the Snow Valley's Grand Elder. Although the Grand Elder had changed, the domineering mentality formed over the years wasn't something that could be changed easily. The Grand Elder didn't stop the words of love between Lin Yi and Meng Yao. Her attitude towards Meng Yao and Yi Wan was completely different. It couldn't be helped. The two's personalities were different. Of course, the Grand Elder still looked down on Lin Yi. She thought that Lin Yi was only a freelancer, so she didn't say a word to Lin Yi since they came to Meng Yao's place. But Lin Yi didn't mind. As long as the Grand Elder treated Meng Yao well, it was fine. Lin Yi didn't care about anything else. To get along with someone like the Grand Elder, it was either someone like Meng Yao controlling her in certain things or someone stronger than her, like Mr. Yang back then, Mr. Yang. Actually, Lin Yi had his suspicions when Peng Zhan mentioned Mr. Yang. Just who was this Mr. Yang? How could he be so powerful that he didn't even put the Grand Elder, a sky-class late-phase peak, in his eyes? Of course, Lin Yi wouldn't link it to his master. After all, Lin Yi didn't know about his master and Lin Dongfang's achievements in the past. Lin Dongfang didn't mention these things to Lin Yi even once. If it weren't for Lin Dongfang's occasional display of dominance, which made Lin Yi feel that Lin Dongfang's strength wasn't normal, he wouldn't have thought of anything else. After all, these things were too foreign to Lin Yi. Oh, Shu is finally a small wife, Yushu said suddenly after Meng Yao left. Lin Yi was stunned by Yushu's words, but he understood what was going on. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. Shu, Yao Yao is gone. Why are you still making a fuss? I'm leaving too, Yushu said weakly. Yushu's words reminded Lin Yi abruptly. Yushu was about to leave too in the blink of an eye. The people around him would leave one by one. Perhaps in the near future they would meet again. Lin Yi was looking forward to the arrival of that day. After returning to the living room of the villa, Lin Yi sat on the sofa in silence. Everything was like a dream. Big Missy suddenly left just like that. There seemed to be something missing in the villa. Before, Dongfang Burua was here to capture me. I didn't think he would drag Yao Yao into this. Shirhan was the first to break the silence. She felt that it was necessary to tell Lin Yi. I've thought of that as well. Lin Yi smiled. Shirhan paused for a second. Yeah. If she thought of it, how could Lin Yi not think of it as well? It was Lin Yi who told her about her identity and the fact that Dongfang House wanted to deal with her. This time they sent a Sky-class mid-phase master. The person they sent is a Sky-class mid-phase master. Next time they'll probably send someone even stronger. Won't that drag you down? Shirhan asked worriedly. We can't ask the Grand Elder for help, can we? Although Yao Yao went to the Dark Palace and is the new palace master, she still hasn't gotten a firm foothold yet. I know, but we'll deal with it when it comes. Lin Yi was worried as well. This time, it would be best if Dongfang House just let it go. If they sent an even stronger master, Lin Yi really wouldn't be able to handle it. I'm sorry. I caused you trouble, Shirhan said apologetically. Haha, what are you saying? I'm your bodyguard. I'm paid to get rid of misfortune. That's the old saying. Lin Yi smiled nonchalantly, but in his heart he was thinking that now that he was a Sky-class master, he should find Han Jingjing one day to test it out and see if he could concoct the Qi-gathering pill with her. If he could concoct the Qi-gathering pill, then Lin Yi would be able to break through continuously. However, Han Jingjing seemed to be very busy recently. He told Han Xiaoqiao to tell Han Jingjing to contact him, but Han Jingjing hadn't called yet. It seemed like she was still in isolation. At night, Lin Yi went to his room to train, while Shirhan and Yushu went upstairs to rest. Dongfang Burua carried Dongfang Song's body back to the hotel. However, he did not dare to take the body out. Instead, he placed it in the trunk of his car. After driving the car back to the hotel, the first thing he did was call his father, Dongfang Jinxing. Burua, how is it? Is it done? From Dongfang Jinxing's perspective, with Dongfang Song, a Sky-class mid-phase master, dealing with Shirhan was a piece of cake. Dad, he's dead. Dongfang Song. He's dead, Dongfang Burua said nervously. Even now, he still hadn't calmed down. It could be seen that he was quite frightened. Dead. Dongfang Jinxing almost threw the phone away. How did Dongfang Song die? How did he die? Burua, what did you say? Shirhan's bodyguard was that strong? Even a Sky-class, mid-phase master like Dongfang Song was killed? Dad, no, it wasn't Shirhan's bodyguard. It was the Grand Elder of the Dark Palace. Dongfang, bro, quickly said. Dark Palace? Grand Elder? What? She went to cause trouble for you again? Dongfang Jinxing was completely infuriated because Dongfang family was in the wrong. Dongfang Cha died. He didn't go to cause trouble for the Dark Palace immediately, but the Dark Palace shouldn't push their luck, right? Were they trying to kill them all or something? They lost another Sky Class mid-phase master and you killed him. Dad, it's not that we wanted to cause trouble for her. It's like this. This time, Dongfang Bura didn't dare hide it. After all, the Grand Elder might make another statement, and if he lied, it would be easy to see through him. So he just told the truth and told Dongfang Jinxing that he didn't know Shirhan. Dongfang Burua's words made Dongfang Jinxing completely dumbfounded. You guys went to capture someone else's inheritor again? Then you really can't blame the Grand Elder of the Dark Palace. Is there anyone like you guys? Capture her once, and you want to capture her again? You're lucky we let you go this time. Chapter 3104. Never mind, it's not your fault. You can only blame the Grand Elder of the Dark Palace. If he had announced his identity earlier, all this wouldn't have happened. The people of Dongfang family were all like that. When something went wrong, they wouldn't blame themselves, but blame others. Yeah, Dad, what should I do now? Dongfang Broa said unwillingly. Are we just going to let Su Shirhan's matter go? Let it go? How is that possible? Dongfang Jinxing didn't dare cause trouble for the Dark Palace, so he could only find trouble for Su Shirhan. This time I will send a Sky-class mid-stage peak master from the Dongfang family to help you. Actually, Dongfang Jinxing didn't want to send such a strong master, but the low-level masters were all dead. Now the Dongfang family only had 2 Sky-class mid-stage peak, 2 Sky-class late-stage peak, and 2 Sky-class late-stage peak full perfection masters. Although the Dongfang family was strong, losing so many Sky-class masters was a huge blow to them. They went from a top ancient power to a mid-level ancient power. Luckily, the top masters of the family were fine. Otherwise, Dongfang Jinxing would be crying. Okay, thank you, Dad, so much. Dongfang Broa was overjoyed. He didn't think that Dongfang Jinxing would support him this wholeheartedly. Of course, if Dongfang Jinxing knew that Dongfang Jian was killed by Lin Yi in the beginning, and that Lin Yi was Su Shirhan's bodyguard, he wouldn't send a Sky-class mid-stage peak master out. That was suicide. However, Dongfang Jinxing needed to find a place to vent his anger. He couldn't touch the Dark Palace for now, but he could touch Su Shirhan. If some people didn't die, he wouldn't be able to calm his anger. He got a call from Fatty Lai not long after he returned to his room to rest. Hello, Fatty Lai, what's up? He picked up the phone. Boss, the bank is asking for the debt. Fatty Lai smiled bitterly. Before, the company and House Liu both owed the bank a lot of money. Both the company and the Liu family owe the bank a lot of loans. Now, although the company can operate normally, there is no extra money to repay the loan. Once the loan is repaid, the operation of the company will definitely have a big problem. Oh, Yi frowned after listening. He thought that there would be no other problems since the company was running smoothly. He didn't expect to be in debt. Our business is booming now. Can't the bank give us some time? Even if the Liu family was greatly weakened. But the Wu family and the Sun family are both at the top of the secular world. Can't you just say hello? Boss, actually, the bank has been pressuring us for a while now, and I asked someone to extend the deadline. The bank saw that our business was improving, so they stopped pressuring us. But now they're under a lot of pressure. Fatty Lai said helplessly, if only he could think of something. He would naturally think of a way. Now that he really had no other way, he came to trouble Lin Yi. All right, I got it. I will think of a way. Lin Yi nodded and said. After hanging up the phone, Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly. It turned out to be a company. He wanted to earn some pocket money for himself, but now he was the one who earned money for the company. But no matter what, Lin he had to think of a way. After all, the company was the hope of the orphanage, and while Xiaoka's indifference to Lin Yi, the biggest donor of the orphanage, irritated him quite a bit, but Lin Yi's other identity was that of a male thief. Originally, Lin Yi wanted to wait for Han Jingjing, but now Lin Yi had to call her. The phone rang for a while before it was connected. Han Jingjing's tired voice came from the other side. Lin Yi, big bro. Yeah, you're resting? Lin Yi heard Han Jingjing's voice, but he wasn't surprised. After all, Han Jingjing was in seclusion to study things. Sometimes her days and nights would be reversed. It was normal for her to sleep early. No. What's the matter, Lin Yi, big bro? Han Jingjing asked. It's like this. If you're free, come to my villa. I have something to talk to you about. Lin Yi said. Oh, okay. I'll go tomorrow morning. I have something to do here. I'll go after I'm done. Han Jingjing said. Okay. Lin Yi nodded and hung up. Lin Yi planned to let Han Jingjing refine some more pills, and then increase her strength to Earth-class late-phase peak. He wanted to see if he could refine a qi-gathering pill with Han Jingjing. After the call with Han Jingjing, Lin Yi continued to condense the forging fire. Under Lin Yi's hard work, Lin Yi's control of the forging fire was getting better and better. Lin Yi believed that if he continued like this, he would be able to start refining the jade space in half a month. In the middle of the night, Lin Yi was concentrating on condensing the forging fire. Suddenly, he heard footsteps. Lin Yi opened his eyes slightly and looked at the direction of his room. Shu! Lin Yi could tell that it was Shu. Shield bro, I can't sleep. Yushu was in her pajamas, yawning. Miss Yao Yao? Lin Yi looked at Shu and was silent. To be honest, he missed Meng Yao. Although Meng Yao had only left for a few hours, the feeling in his heart was different. In the past, even if Lin Yi left for a long time, he would feel at ease knowing that the miss was at home. But now, Lin Yi felt like he had lost something. Okay, Yushu nodded. I always thought that the one who left would be me, but I didn't expect it to be Yao Yao sis. Life is unpredictable, but maybe it's a good thing. Lin Yi smiled. You and Xiao Xiao are both inheritors now. If Yao Yao isn't, it'll be hard for her to stay with us in the future. So, if you think from this perspective, it's a good thing. Yeah. Yushu nodded. Shield bro, it's getting late. I'm gonna sleep. Okay. Lin Yi nodded. Looking at Yushu's lonely back, Lin Yi sighed. He could feel Yushu's sadness. A BMW sped from Yanjing to East Ocean City overnight. Although the girl driving the car was very tired, she still drove very fast. At 5 a.m, the villa's doorbell rang. Lin Yi put away his forging fire and pushed the door open, only to see Han Jingjing standing at the doorway. Han Jingjing, however, looked indescribably haggard, as if she hadn't rested for many days in a row. Chapter 3105. Did you stay up late? Lin Yi opened the door of the villa and looked at Han Jingjing, his heart aching. Han Jingjing said that she wanted to make an invention to help him. It seemed like she had been working day and night. Otherwise, she wouldn't be like this. It's okay, Han Jingjing shook her head. Lin Yi bro, why are you looking for me so urgently? I want you to help me make some pills, and then I'll see if I can go to the Cultivator Trade Association to exchange for some money. As for House Lu and Fatty Lai, the bank is starting to chase them for debts again. I need to help them get some money. Lin Yi explained. Although the Cultivator Trade Association had a rule that they could only barter normally, he believed that with Lin Yi's deterrence last time and the relationship between Lin Yi and Ouyang, it shouldn't be a problem for him to bend the rules and exchange for some money. Okay, then let's start now. After Han Jingjing listened, she agreed readily. Wait, I'm a Sky Class early phase now. I'll raise your strength to Earth Class late phase peak and see if you can successfully make a 3rd level pill. Lin Yi said. Okay. Han Jingjing nodded and entered the villa with Lin Yi. When they arrived at Lin Yi's villa, Han Jingjing sat on the side of the bed and reached out her hand. She was ready to start chanting. Lin Yi didn't hesitate and directly grabbed Han Jingjing's wrist and started chanting the third stage of the art of dragon mastery. The third stage could also help others increase their strength, but the speed of improvement was incomparable to the second stage. When he helped Wu Qintian and the others increase their strength, Lin Yi hadn't practiced the third stage of the art of dragon mastery yet. He still used the second stage to increase his strength, so he didn't waste much time. This time, Lin Yi was shocked to find out that Han Jingjing's strength soared from Earth class early phase to Earth class late phase peak in less than 2 hours. The speed of the third stage of the art of dragon mastery was too overpowered. Han Jingjing's strength. It soared all the way to late Earth class peak before stopping. It seemed that even the third level of the art of dragon mastery couldn't break through the limits of one's own strength. It couldn't bring Han Jingjing to early sky class. However, Lin Yi was not surprised. This result was already very good. Big brother Lin is so awesome. Jingjing is so satisfied. Han Jingjing's body was full of strength. He felt much more energized. The tiredness she felt when she entered the room was swept away. Uffed. Lin Yi looked at the blushing Han Jingjing. Her words could easily cause others to misunderstand and have their imaginations run wild. Amazing? Satisfied? He didn't know if Han Jingjing did it on purpose, or was he trying to tempt her? Shall we start concocting pills now? Lin Yi asked. NN. Do you want to test the third-grade pills first? Or do you want to refine the pills for sale first? Han Jingjing asked. Let's try to refine a third-grade medicinal pill first. Lin Yi's pursuit of strength was far greater than his pursuit of money. Without money, he could think of other ways. But without strength, sometimes people would die. Okay. Han Jingjing nodded and said, in order not to waste materials, I will now simulate refining a third-grade medicinal pill. But this may not be accurate because there is no real thing, it will still be a little off. And as long as the simulation is successful, we can actually try it. Lin Yi nodded. Han Jingjing also nodded and began to condense the alchemy fire. In an instant, a ball of alchemy fire leaped out of Han Jingjing's hand, and Han Jingjing's other hand was not idle. She clicked a few times on the tablet computer and began to simulate refining pills according to the time and temperature curve she summarized. And Lin Yi also began to urge the Heavenly Spring Rain Marshal technique to cooperate with Han Jingjing. Because in theory, Han Jingjing, who was at the peak of the late stage of Earth class, was not enough to successfully refine a third-grade medicinal pill. Only the early stage of Heaven class could have certain chance of success. If she wanted to increase the success rate, her strength level must also be increased, and the early stage of Heaven class was the lowest limit. However, even with Lin Yi's help, Han Jingjing's forehead was soon covered with a thin layer of sweat. The physical strength and true qi consumption of a third-grade medicinal pill and a second-grade medicinal pill could not be mentioned in the same breath. As time passed, Lin Yi and Han Jingjing were very nervous, looking forward to the moment of success. But what made Lin Yi nervous was that Han Jingjing's physical strength was quickly exhausted, and Lin Yi also began to show signs of exhaustion. Huff! Lin Yi and Han Jingjing sighed at the same time. Failed at the last crucial moment. Although Lin Yi was an early stage of Heaven class, the Heavenly Spring Rain Marshal technique was not the same as the art of dragon mastery. Although Lin Yi's physical strength and true qi were enough to refine medicinal pills, the conversion rate of Heavenly Spring Rain was not very high, and there was no lack of physical strength and true qi, which was not as good as the art of dragon mastery. So, Han Jingjing finally failed. Moreover, she failed at the last crucial moment. In other words, if Lin Yi's strength was slightly higher, he could have succeeded. It still can't work. The simulation of refining the easiest recover pill has already failed, let alone this more complicated qi gathering pill. Han Jingjing shook her head. It can't work, Big Brother Linny. It's all because Jingjing's strength level is too low. If only it was a little higher. It's always Big Brother Lin Yi who brings Jingjing to level up. And Jingjing herself is a big idiot. Jingjing, don't say that. You've already done very well. Lin Yi suddenly blushed with shame. If Han Jingjing was an idiot, then there were not many smart people in the cultivation world since ancient times who could invent a scientific method of alchemy. Hey, Big Brother Lin Yi, help Jingjing restore her physical strength and true energy. Jingjing will refine grade 1 and grade 2 pills for you. Han Jingjing said. Lin Yi nodded and began to quickly help Han Jingjing restore her physical strength and true energy. And refining grade 1 and grade 2 pills was much easier for Han Jingjing. Soon, all the materials in Lin Yi's hands were refined. These materials were given by Vice President Ouyang when he went to the Cultivator Trade Association's market last time. However, in theory, these materials could only refine about 10 pills, but in Han Jingjing's hands, it more than doubled, refining a total of 25 pills. This made Lin Yi sigh. Han Jingjing is really a genius girl. Jingjing, Yao Yao left. You still don't know about this matter, right? You were in seclusion at that time, so I didn't disturb you, Lin Yi said. Oh, where did she go? Han Jingjing was slightly surprised and asked. Chapter 3106. It's a pity that I couldn't say goodbye to her personally. But don't be sad, Brother Lin Yi. She went to improve her strength. In fact, I also want to improve my strength as soon as possible to help Brother Lin Yi. Han Jingjing said seriously. And Jingjing, if there's nothing else, you can go back. I won't disturb you. Oh, right, what are you researching? Lin Yi asked curiously. Han Jingjing had been in seclusion for a while, but Lin Yi didn't know what she was researching. It's related to alchemy. I'm sure it can help Brother Lin Yi. You'll know when the time comes. Han Jingjing said mysteriously. Then, she suddenly smiled and blinked her eyes cutely. Actually, it's because I haven't succeeded yet. If I don't succeed, I'm afraid Shield Bro will laugh at me for being an idiot. How can that be? Lin Yi smiled. Then I won't ask. You should go back early. Han Jingjing nodded. It was getting late. She had to go back. Thinking about the things she had to do, Han Jingjing couldn't help but feel a headache. Lin Yi didn't expect Han Jingjing to leave so quickly. She didn't hesitate at all. She left Lin Yi's mansion and returned to her own mansion. Sister, you're back. Han Xiaoqiao was surprised to see Han Jingjing back. After all, he hadn't seen her for a while. And Han Jingjing nodded. I still have things to do. You go first. Han Jingjing said, and didn't pay much attention to Han Xiaoqiao. She went straight upstairs. Lin Yi didn't stay idle either. He brought the elixirs that Han Jingjing had refined and headed to the Cultivator Trade Association. What he wanted to do was to wait until the experts from the Dongfang family arrived. He went to the Cultivator Trade Association to sell the elixirs in his hands and exchange them for some money. When Dongfang Borough came looking for trouble, Lin Yi would go back. However, Lin Yi had underestimated the enthusiasm of the masters from the Dongfang family. He didn't come this morning, but took a plane to East Ocean City last night. There was actually a reason why this expert from the Dongfang family was so proactive. It was because he was the younger brother of the deceased Dongfang Jian, and his name was Dongfang Hard. Dongfang Chang came this time to help Dongfang Borough deal with Su Shihan, but the first thing he did was not find Dongfang Borough. Instead, he went to the Cultivator Trade Association to investigate the cause of his brother's death. Of course, this was something that Dongfang Jinxing had tacitly agreed to. After all, Dongfang Jinxing also wanted to know how Dongfang Jian had died. Moreover, Dongfang Hao also wanted to go to the Cultivator Trade Association to see if he could buy medicinal ingredients for Dongfang Bourgeois cultivation. Lin Yi smoothly entered the Cultivator Trade Association's market square. He dialed Vice President Ouyang's number. Mr. Ling. Vice President Ouyang picked up the phone, a little surprised. After Lin Yi killed a master from the Dongfang family, he still dared to call him? Although he withstood the pressure and hid it well, paper can't cover fire. That day, Vice President Ouyang wasn't the only one at the scene. Although the others were all solo cultivators, even if they were solo cultivators, what if the Dongfang family came looking for them? It's me, Vice President Ouyang. I'm at the Cultivator Trade Association's Market Square. Are you there? I have something to talk to you about. Lin Yi said. Yes, I'm in the office. You can come find me directly. Vice President Ouyang said. Lin Yi brought the medicinal pills and came to Vice President Ouyang's office with ease. Vice President Ouyang, how have you been? Mr. Ling, you're here. Vice President Ouyang stood up and smiled at Lin Yi. May I know why Mr. Ling is here this time? Vice President Ouyang, I have some finished medicinal pills in my hands. Can you do me a favor and help me exchange some money? I'm a little short of money recently. As Lin Yi spoke, he put all the medicinal pills he brought on Vice President Ouyang's desk. This Vice President Ouyang's face suddenly became a little ugly. Looking at the medicinal pills that Lin Yi put on the table, he didn't know how to explain to Lin Yi. What's wrong? Lin Yi was slightly stunned. Vice President Ouyang, do you have any difficulties? Mr. Ling, to tell you the truth, our Cultivator Trade Association has just sent a notice, and it was personally issued by the great honorary president. We're not allowed to sell medicinal pills privately. All our medicinal pills will be exclusively supplied by the Heavenly Elixir sect in the future. Vice President Ouyang said with some difficulty. Although I also have a backer in the Cultivator Trade Association, I can't disobey the great honorary president's words. Heavenly Elixir sect? Lin Yi was suddenly a little puzzled. Don't they refine high-level medicinal pills? They also want to occupy the market for level 1 and level 2 medicinal pills? I'm not sure what's going on. Suddenly, Elder Kong from the Heavenly Elixir sect came to our Cultivator Trade Association to cooperate. They are responsible for providing a large number of level 1 and level 2 medicinal pills to us, and they signed an agreement with the great honorary president to exclusively supply medicinal pills to us. Vice President Ouyang explained. So I hope Mr. Ling can forgive us. Elder Kong. Lin Yi frowned and immediately thought of Kong Mingming. This kid wanted to cut off his source of wealth, but how did he know that he came here to sell medicinal pills? Could it be that he sent someone to investigate? But what was his purpose in doing this? At most, this would cut off his source of wealth, but it would not hurt his foundation. This would at most disgust him. Could it be that it was to disgust him? In this way, Lin Yi could not help but admire Kong Mingming. He actually had such great ability to influence the decision of the Heavenly Elixir sect and let the alchemists of the Heavenly Elixir sect refine so many level 1 and level 2 medicinal pills in large quantities. How much manpower and material resources did it take? Moreover, although these level 1 and level 2 medicinal pills did not seem cheap compared with level 3 medicinal pills, it was really a world of difference. Lin Yi could not imagine that the entire Heavenly Elixir sect would waste the physical strength and true chi of the alchemists to refine these garbage just to disgust him. Was there something wrong with their heads? Yes, it is Elder Kong. He is a newly promoted elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect. It is said that his words in the Heavenly Elixir sect carry a lot of weight. Vice President Ouyang said, So, Mr. Ling, I hope you will not make things difficult for me. I have no other choice. Chapter 30-107. Thinking of this, Lin Yi could only say, then there's no other way. Let's cooperate again in the future. Yes, you also know that although our Cultivator Trading Association is not afraid of the Heavenly Elixir sect, we don't want to offend a powerful ancient sect because of such a small matter. This is not in line with our interests, and no matter how strong Mr. Ling is, he is only one person. Unless Mr. Ling can come up with enough background or enough benefits, it will be impossible to make our great honorary president change his mind. Vice President Ouyang said, "After all, we are businessmen. Businessmen pursue profits. In addition to background, if the benefits are enough, we don't care about the Heavenly Elixir sect. It's just that the elixirs provided by the Heavenly Elixir sect, in terms of quality and price, are no weaker than yours, Mr. Ling, so I can't help you." I understand. As for reducing the price, Lin Yi did not think about it. After all, Han Jingjing was very busy now and did not have a lot of time to refine elixirs. If the elixirs were sold at a cheaper price, Lin Yi would not be able to make much profit. This kind of business was not long-term, so Lin Yi was too lazy to let Vice President Ouyang fight for it. He just changed the topic and asked, "Excuse me, how is the matter with the Dongfang family? Have they sent anyone to ask about it?" The Dongfang clan only asked me once through our president. However, I said that it was because a member of their clan had a conflict with someone when they were buying medicinal ingredients, causing the elder of the Dongfang clan to be beaten to death. However, the murder ran very quickly, so we didn't see what he looked like. Vice President Ouyang said, "Mr. Ling, at present, it is only the president who is pressuring me. I can still help you cover it up, but if it is the great honorary president who asks about it, I can't do anything." I understand. Lin Yi nodded. In this case, thank you, Vice President Ouyang. Wow, it turns out that you are in cahoots with each other. My brother died so miserably. While Lin Yi and Vice President Ouyang were talking, Dongfang Hao rushed in. He was here to investigate the cause of Dongfang Jian's death. Of course, he was also a cautious person. He didn't ask anyone he met. Instead, he used his divine sense and mental strength to sense what the other people in the Cultivator Trade Association market were talking about. When he suddenly heard Vice President Ouyang and Lin Yi's conversation, he was instantly enraged and rushed over with a ferocious expression. The other party was an expert at the peak of the middle stage of heaven rank. Lin Yi's strength was lower than his, so it was difficult for him to sense his existence. Only when he revealed his strength did he realize that something was wrong. Boom! A loud sound rang out. Vice President Ouyang's office door was kicked open. Dongfang Hao appeared in front of them. "Who are you?" Vice President Ouyang frowned. He had naturally heard what Dongfang Chang had said earlier, and he could vaguely guess what was going on. He just didn't dare to confirm it. "Who am I?" "I am the brother of the deceased Dongfang Jian, Dongfang Jiang. So it was you two who colluded with each other to kill my brother. Today all of you must die." Dongfang Chang sneered and started chanting. A pair of pitchforks appeared in his hands. Obviously, it was his heaven-rank divine weapon. Lin immediately frowned. He could indeed kill an expert at the peak of the middle stage of heaven rank, but that was based on a sneak attack when the opponent wasn't paying attention. Now, the expert in front of him was going all out and even took out a heaven-rank divine weapon. This made Lin Yi nervous. If he said that he was confident, he would be bragging. Therefore, Lin Yi shouted, "Vice President Ouyang, let's attack together. Otherwise, both of us will die today." Vice President Ouyang's expression suddenly changed. He could see that the person in front of him was very fierce. Dongfang Chang might have heard what he said before. Although he didn't kill Dongfang Jian, Dongfang Chang obviously didn't care. He regarded him as an accomplice of Lin Yi and was prepared to kill him together. After hesitating for a moment, Vice President Ouyang also knew that today's matter wouldn't end peacefully. Hence, he didn't stay any longer. He stretched his hand out from under his desk, and a huge saber appeared in his hands. This was his heaven-ranked divine weapon. The huge saber glowed with a dark blue light and was clearly a top-grade divine weapon. Vice President Ouyang's cultivation technique was of the water element, and he had an elder of the second honorable president with him. Hence, the weapon in his hands definitely wouldn't be inferior. Just as Vice President Ouyang took out the blue blade, Dongfang Chang had already moved. His hands slightly shook, and suddenly, woo-woo sound came from the pitchfork. It was as if it came from the depths of hell. A terrifying killing intent leaped out. That terrifying killing intent seemed to have materialized along with the sound as it was transmitted towards Lin Yi and Vice President Ouyang. Not good. Don't listen. Lin Yi's jade pendant suddenly transmitted a strong warning signal. Lin Yi knew that there was a problem with the sound and shouted at Vice President Ouyang. When Vice President Ouyang heard the sound, he was slightly stunned. His eyes had already become sluggish. At this moment, when he was shouted at by Lin Yi, he immediately sobered up and cold sweat appeared on his forehead. The sound of the pitchfork was like a demonic sound. It instantly confused Vice President Ouyang's mind. This was a method that could affect the mind of others. If it wasn't for Lin Yi's reminder, he might have already become a ghost under Dongfang Chang's pitchfork. Although this matter was caused by Lin Yi and Dongfang Jian was killed by Lin Yi, Vice President Ouyang was still very grateful to Lin Yi. After all, Dongfang Chang didn't care so much. In his eyes, Vice President Ouyang was also a participant and would die without a doubt. A puny heaven rank early stage was actually able to see through my demonic sound. Not bad. However, with the strength of the two of you, it is impossible for you to join hands and kill my big brother. Tell me, who else is your accomplice? I can give you a quick death and save you from being tortured. Dongfang Chang coldly snorted and arrogantly asked, If you want to know, then you'll have to beat us first. Lin Yi didn't give Dongfang Chang a chance to speak. The Fushi 9 needles in his hand shot towards Dongfang Chang. Dongfang Chang's face suddenly became very ugly. He didn't think that Lin Yi would dare to take the initiative and ruin his plan. Chapter 3108. But because of this, Dongfang hard lost his patience. He raised his pitchfork and leaped towards Lin Yi. He could see that although Lin Yi was a heaven-rank early-stage expert, he was stronger than Vice President Ouyang and was able to see through his plans several times. Therefore, he decided to get rid of Lin Yi first before getting the truth out of Vice President Ouyang's mouth. Brett, you're courting death. Dongfang hard waved his pitchfork and blocked Lin Yi's Fushi 9 needles. With Lin Yi's heaven-rank early-stage strength, he had no advantage against Dongfang hard, who was at the peak of heaven-rank mid-stage. On the other hand, Vice President Ouyang's blue saber was extremely fierce. After Lin Yi made his move, Vice President Ouyang also made his move. The blue saber and the pitchfork collided, creating a thunderous sound. Dongfang hard was actually pushed back a step, but Vice President Ouyang was in a much more miserable state. He was pushed back 4 or 5 steps and almost fell to the ground. Lin Yi did not delay. Taking advantage of the fact that Dongfang hard had yet to recover, he suddenly activated the 9th style of Raging Fire 8 trigrams palm and smashed it towards Dongfang hard. However, Dongfang hard was already on guard against Lin Yi. Seeing Lin Yi's martial skill coming towards him, he subconsciously dodged to the side. Although he didn't think that a heaven-rank early-stage expert like Lin Yi would be able to cause much damage to him, he didn't want to be injured. What he didn't expect was that he actually dodged correctly. When he saw Lin Yi's martial skill, he was a little dumbfounded. This was equivalent to the 15th style of heaven rank martial skill. If this hit his body, he would either die or be seriously injured. But how could Lin Yi use such a powerful martial skill? Until now, Dongfang hard finally understood. His brother was really killed by Lin Yi. There was no need for anyone else to do anything. He had probably already fallen into Lin Yi's trap. Even so, half of Dongfang Hard's body was still burning with pain after being swept by Lin Yi's raging fire 8 trigram palm. His meridians had also suffered heavy internal injuries, causing Dongfang Hard to be extremely angry. Demonic tuning fork. Kid, die. At the same time Dongfang Hao shouted, the 2 steel forks in his hands once again emitted a woo-woo-woo sound, causing Lin Yi's mind to be distracted. It was as if his entire body was in a strange illusion. However, Lin Yi was already on guard against Dongfang Hao's tuning forks. At the same time the tuning fork sounded, Lin Yi also roared loudly, Dark Demon Hell Fist. Lin Yi's voice was very loud, using his voice to cover up the sound of the tuning fork. Since you want to play dirty tricks with me, I'll give it to you. I'll accompany you then. Lin Yi thought. Dongfang Hao was using the demonic tuning fork with all his might. He didn't dare to fight Lin Yi head-on now. That move just now had already made him a little afraid, so he was prepared to let Lin Yi lose his mind before making a move. But he didn't expect that. Lin Yi shouted loudly. He didn't know what he was calling for, but not only did Lin Yi not lose his mind, he even threw a punch. Dongfang Hao was using the demonic tuning fork with all his might. It was too late to dodge. Fortunately, he saw that the power of Lin Yi's punch was not as strong as before. He was confident that he could take it head-on, so he didn't mind. At this moment, Lin Yi was gritting his teeth. This was the last fight. The raging fire 8 trigram palm's 9th form had almost drained all of Lin Yi's physical strength, but it didn't do anything to Dongfang Hao. So, Lin Yi could only use another ultimate move that he learned from Zhang Naipao. But what surprised Lin Yi was that Dongfang Hao didn't dodge. Instead, he wanted to take it head-on. This time, Dongfang Hao was 100% sure. A beam of red light shot out from Lin Yi's fist, directly entering Dongfang Jiao's mind. In the next moment, Dongfang Jiao didn't even have time to react before he felt an endless sea of fire surging towards him. He could even feel the waves of heat, and he subconsciously let out a scream, his eyes filled with shock. Vice Chairman Ouyang, kill him! After activating the raging hell fist, Lin Yi sat on the ground with a thud. He had used up all the strength in his body, and he couldn't use any more moves. He couldn't even stand up. Vice Chairman Ouyang paused. Although he didn't understand what was going on with Dongfang Hao, he still followed Lin Yi's instructions and slashed at Dongfang Hao's head. But Vice Chairman Ouyang was a step too slow and missed the best opportunity. Dongfang Hao had already woken up from the sea of hellfire and returned to reality. He often used these demonic realms and illusions to trick people, and now that he had been tricked by Lin Yi, he was able to quickly wake up. But his heart was filled with shock. He finally knew that his big brother's death wasn't undeserved. Even he himself was almost done for. Swoosh! The sharp blue sword slashed down from the right side of Dongfang Hao's head, directly slicing off half of his eye and the entire ear, as well as the side of his skull. You're from the everyday and everyday sect. Dongfang Hao glared at Lin Yi with hatred. He didn't want to fight anymore and flew out of Ouyang's office, disappearing in a flash. Although Dongfang Hao was seriously injured, one of his eyeballs was destroyed, and his head was also severely injured. It wasn't enough to kill a peak heaven rank middle stage expert. However, he couldn't continue fighting, and he was already afraid of Lin Yi. If Lin Yi used another demonic hell fist, as long as he was distracted for a moment, he would definitely die. And so Dongfang Hao ran away. Revenge, of course, but that was against the everyday and everyday sect. He didn't care about this person in front of him anymore. The monk could run, but the temple couldn't. Most importantly, the Dongfang House and the everyday and everyday sect had a deep grudge against each other. Dongfang Jian could be said to be nothing, but Dongfang Belu was the most outstanding member of the younger generation of the Dongfang House, and now that he had died in the hands of the everyday and everyday sect. Would the Dongfang house just let it go? When Dongfang Hao heard Lin Yi say demonic hell fist, he didn't suspect anything at all. It wasn't a secret that Dongfang Belu had died to Nai Peo's demonic hell fist, and Dongfang Hao was also a practitioner of a similar art. He had studied the demonic hell fist before, and it was very similar to what he had experienced just now. This was also why he was certain that Lin Yi was from the everyday and everyday sect. Chapter 30-109. He wanted the Dongfang family to blame Dongfang Jian's death on the everyday and everyday sect. Mr. Ling, this Dongfang Hao is not a simple person. His methods are incredible. Even with our combined efforts, we still couldn't catch him. If he managed to escape, I'm afraid that our plan has already been exposed. Vice President Ouyang said worriedly, I'm fine. He thinks I'm from the everyday and everyday sect, but I'm worried about you. Lin Yi said, Mr. Ling, you don't have to worry about me. He's only here once. When he gets back, he'll understand that I was merely pressured by the everyday and everyday sect and didn't tell the truth. The Dongfang family won't dare to clash with our Cultivator Trade Association. It's not like I don't have a backer, Vice President Ouyang said nonchalantly. That's good. Lin Yi nodded. Then I'll take my leave first. I need to go back and prepare. Okay, Mr. Ling, you be careful too. Vice President Ouyang and Lin Yi had established a friendship during the battle. The two of them were now on the same side. Vice President Ouyang was afraid of Lin Yi at first, but now it was more like a concern between friends. Thank you. Lin Yi nodded gratefully. He felt that Vice President Ouyang was a good person. If there was a chance in the future, he could cooperate with him. Without saying much, Lin Yi left Vice President Ouyang's office and prepared to return to the villa. The arrival of Dongfang Chang made Lin Yi feel a sense of crisis. If the other party didn't use a heaven-grade weapon, then Lin Yi's chances of winning were very high. However, once the other party used a heaven-grade weapon, Lin Yi's advantage would be gone. Lin Yi swore to become a blacksmith as soon as possible. He believed that only by successfully refining a weapon that matched the art of dragon mastery could he regain his previous advantage. However, the fact that the Heavenly Elixir sect had cut off Lin Yi's source of income from elixirs made Lin Yi very unhappy. Kong Mingming was really a haunting ghost. He could jump out at any time to mess things up. Thinking of this, Lin Yi directly called Kong Mingming. Oh, wasn't that Lin Yi? Why did you call me? Kong Mingming pretended to be curious. In fact, he knew very well that once Lin Yi knew that the Cultivator Trade Association would no longer purchase his pills, he would definitely call to question him. Kong Mingming, are you so bored that your balls hurt? If you have time, why don't you refine a qi gathering pill for me? It seems like you're very energetic to refine a level 1 or level 2 pill. Lin Yi asked coldly, when are you going to give me my qi gathering pill? You're talking about the Cultivator Trade Association. I didn't refine it. It's the Heavenly Elixir sect's business changes. I'm just the spokesperson. Kong Mingming said, I did this to nurture a batch of alchemists. The purpose of doing this was to nurture a batch of alchemists. They couldn't possibly throw away the first and second grade dawn that they refined, right? We found the Cultivator Trade Association to cooperate with. Because the supply price is relatively low, we want to be the exclusive supplier. You can't blame me for this. This is how the market is. Just like when our Miracle Dr. Kong company went bankrupt because of your Miracle Dr. Guan company. We couldn't do anything about it. We couldn't do anything about it either. Is that so? Lin Yi was speechless at Kong Mingming's words. It was clearly a sophistry, but Lin Yi couldn't do anything to Kong Mingming because of this. After all, this was a normal competition. Lin Yi, if he wanted to turn this round, he could only use a similar method. At least, Lin Yi couldn't go against the Heavenly Elixir sect openly. After all, the young master of the heavenly elixir sect, had helped him once. Lin, he couldn't be ungrateful, right? Even Lin, he was puzzled. What was the relationship between him and the young master of the heavenly elixir sect? Why would the young master suddenly help him? But no matter what, Lin, he could only find other ways to earn money. The path of selling pills wouldn't work. Lin, he returned home with the pills. Su Shirhan was practicing singing in the living room. Yushu was sitting on the sofa in a daze. She didn't have the usual joy. Shu, what are you doing? Lin, he walked into the living room and asked curiously, Oh, Shield Bro, you're back. I was worried. Yao Yao Sis went to the Dark Palace. I don't know how she is. She didn't call home. Yushu sighed and said unhappily, She should be fine. She didn't call. Maybe she hasn't finished the handover. Let's wait. Lin, he comforted. In fact, Lin, he was also worried. Okay. Yushu nodded. Shirhan and I are recording a song for Yao Yao Sis. Shirhan sang a record for Yao Yao Sis. We're going to send it to Yao Yao Sis. Okay, you guys continue. I'm going back to practice. Lin Yi's strength had just recovered. He still had to think of a countermeasure. Dongfang How alone had already caught him off guard. If a few stronger masters from the Dongfang family appeared, Lin Yi really wouldn't know what to do. Just as Lin Yi guessed, Meng Yao had arrived at the Dark Palace today, but she had a lot of things to do. When the Grand Elder asked when Meng Yao was going to hold the ceremony, the miss didn't answer his question. Where's my mom? This. The Grand Elder didn't expect Meng Yao to ask this as soon as she arrived at the Dark Palace. He answered, Palace Master One, is currently in the courtyard at the back of the mountain. That's where you will be staying from now on. Then why don't you bring me there? If I'm not happy, I'll just go back. Meng Yao said, This, please. The Grand Elder had no choice but to bring Meng Yao to see Yi first. As for the way back, she had already arranged to receive the inheritor. The ceremony could only be postponed by the black-clothed elder. As for Meng Yao, the Grand Elder had seen her quite clearly on the way here. She had the temperament of a young miss, and she wouldn't argue with you if things didn't go her way. She'd just keep quiet, and the Grand Elder had no choice but to compromise. If Meng Yao had been brought back when she was young, this wouldn't have happened. Now that Meng Yao's temper was out, how could he expect her to work for the Dark Palace without any regrets? The obvious possibility, no. Chapter 3110. Where's that bitch Yi Wan? The Grand Elder was getting annoyed. She grabbed a disciple on duty and barked. She wanted Meng Yao to see Yi Wan as soon as possible and go to the welcoming ceremony. But now, the more anxious she was, the more she didn't see Yi Wan. Naturally, she was annoyed. Elder, you went to the welcoming ceremony. She's not here. The disciple said quickly. Oh. The Grand Elder nodded and was about to tell Meng Yao that her mother had gone to the ceremony, so she should go too. She'd be able to see her when she saw Meng Yao's murderous gaze. She jumped up. Miss, what's wrong with you now? The Grand Elder was getting a little scared on the way, but for the future of the Dark Palace, she had to endure it. This inheritor didn't listen to her, so she could only pacify her. Who are you calling a bitch? You old bitch. Meng Yao glared at the Grand Elder. This. What I meant was, why isn't Yi Wan coming out to see people? She's seeing people, not bitch. The Grand Elder quickly explained. Humph. Meng Yao humphed coldly, lead the way. All right. The Grand Elder wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Thank goodness Meng Yao didn't hold it against him. Otherwise, there'd be no end to this. Yi Wan-er's emotions were very complicated and perturbed. She didn't know that the new palace master was her daughter, Meng Yao. She was still worried about Meng Yao because the Grand Elder said that she was going to kill Meng Yao before she left, and she didn't say who the inheritor was. How could she not be worried? Miss Wan. Don't worry. The little miss is blessed by the heavens. She'll be fine. Maybe the grand elder found an inheritor, and he'll be so happy that he'll let the little miss go. Elderly said, Really? Went aside. Although Elderly said so, she was still very worried. She knew the highest elder's temper. He would do what he said. But just as Yuan Air was worried, there was a burst of cheers. It was the new palace master, the heir of the Dark Palace. Everyone followed their rehearsal and clapped. The Dark Palace welcomes the new palace master. Yuan Air stiffly raised her head. However, when she saw the face of the palace master of trust, she was completely dumbfounded. Wasn't this Mengyao? Although Wanner had never met Chu Mengyao before, the black-clothed elder still remembered her. When she was in charge of the Dark Shadow group, she'd brought back a picture of Mengyao. She looked exactly like Mengyao when she was young. She didn't expect Mengyao to come to the Palace of Darkness and become the new palace master. So Yao Yao didn't die. She didn't get killed by the highest elder. She was the heir, the new palace master of darkness. But while Wanner was happy for Mengyao, she was also worried. It was good that Mengyao wasn't dead, but entering the palace of darkness wasn't a good thing. Without freedom, although she was the palace master, she was restricted by the highest elder. She wasn't even as powerful as a normal elder. But overall, Wanner was still a little happy. Mengyao followed the highest elder up the stage, but she didn't make any speech or anything. She only looked at the highest elder and asked, "Where's my mom?" This, Palace Master Yao Yao. Let's proceed with the inauguration ceremony first. After the ceremony is over, you will have plenty of time to reunite with your mother. Look, there are so many elders waiting down there. The highest elder quickly said, "I'm asking you, where's my mom?" Mengyao's voice was cold. Am I the palace master, or are they the palace masters? The palace master asked the elders to wait a little longer. Is there a problem? This. Of course there's no problem. In this palace of darkness, other than me, you're the most powerful. The highest elder quickly said that. You Wanner, what are you waiting for? Get on the stage. Can't you be a little nicer? Mengyao humphed, dissatisfied. My little miss, my attitude is good enough. The highest elder was speechless, but she was the most powerful person in the palace of darkness. No matter what she said, the elders wouldn't dare say anything. If Mengyao wanted to do it first, then so be it. Below the stage, Yu Wanner widened her eyes in shock. Her face was filled with disbelief. Mengyao dared to go against the highest elder? And to talk to the highest elder in that tone? The most amazing thing was that the highest elder wasn't angry at all. He even called Mengyao Little Miss. What was going on? The eyes of Elderly, who was beside Yuan Air, also flashed with a strange light and hope. It seemed that Little Miss' personality was completely different from Miss. It seemed like she had the highest elder in the palm of her hand. The other elders all understood one thing. The previous head of the Dark Palace was just a decoration, but from today onwards, the new head would be the second most powerful person after the Grand Elder. If Mengyao wanted to kill someone, they had no doubt that the Grand Elder would agree with her. Let my mom look for me on the stage. Do you have any sense of seniority? I should be the one going down to look for my mom. With that, Mengyao got off the stage and walked towards Wanner. Mengyao saw Wanner as well. Her eyes were shining with tears of excitement. Mengyao hadn't seen her mother since she was young, but the moment she saw Wanner, she was sure that this was her mother, because her appearance was very, very similar to his. Mom. Mengyao couldn't help but run over and jump into Yi Weiner's arms. She couldn't stop the tears from flowing down her cheeks. Mengyao had dreamed of reuniting with her mother for so many years, but she didn't think that they'd be separated after reuniting. Wanner was about to leave, and Mengyao was going to stay. Yao Yao, my daughter, I finally get to see you. Wanner cried too, tears of joy, for reuniting with Mengyao, for Mengyao's strength. She knew that Meng Yao wouldn't be at a disadvantage in the Palace of Darkness in the future. She was the true palace master. She was completely different from a puppet palace master. Mom, no one will bully you anymore. You can go back and reunite with Daddy. Whoever dares to stop you, I'll kill him first. Meng Yao said. Chapter 30, 111. When Qibing saw Meng Yao, he was dumbfounded. He never would have thought that Meng Yao would be able to become the palace master of the Dark Palace. He thought that Meng Yao and Lin Yi were dead. But as shocked as he wasn't too afraid. After all, in the Dark Palace, it was the Grand Elder who had the final say, not the palace master. And so, Qibing changed his mind. He wanted to get close to the Grand Elder and sow discord between them. He wanted Meng Yao's position in the Dark Palace to plummet, even higher than Yi Wan-er's position. Qibing believed that with his abilities, it wouldn't be too hard to do this. But who would have thought that things weren't as he'd imagined? Meng Yao, the palace master, seemed to be extremely powerful, and even the Grand Elder had to be afraid of her. This made Zhao Qibing very worried, and when Meng Yao said that she'd kill anyone who tried to stop Yi Wan, Zhao Qibing was so scared that he wet his pants. He couldn't help but be scared. He only realized now that the Dark Palace was Meng Yao's turf. A new era had come, and the days where the Grand Elder had the final say were long gone. Now, Meng Yao's appearance meant that Meng Yao, had the final say in the Dark Palace. Even the Grand Elder had to respect Meng Yao's opinion, lowering his voice when Meng Yao yelled at him. Qibing wanted to jump out and stop her. He wanted to make Meng Yao and Lin Yi unhappy, but now he could only stay silent unless he wanted to die. Go back? Yi Wan-er paused after hearing Meng Yao's words. If I go back, what will you do here? How lonely will it be? It's fine, Mom. No one dares to bully me in the Dark Palace, right? Grand Elder? Meng Yao turned to the Grand Elder. Of course. Whoever dares to bully the palace master, I'll be the first to take his life. The Grand Elder quickly said. If that's the case, I can accept the inheritance and cultivate with peace of mind. Mother, you should be relieved too, right? The Grand Elder had already expressed his attitude, so Meng Yao naturally couldn't just sit back and do nothing. She had to respond, hinting to the Grand Elder that she could only train in peace after Yi Wan left. Firstly, she had promised the Grand Elder that she would train, and secondly, it was also a hint to the Grand Elder. Only Yi Wan left. Only then would she obediently cultivate. Wan-er looked at the High Elder in astonishment. She hadn't expected the High Elder to say something like that. It seemed that his daughter was much stronger than him. In the future, in the Dark Palace, he couldn't afford to lose out. Then, I'll go back and take a look. When I miss you in the future, I'll bring your father to visit you again, Yao Yao. Yi Wan actually wanted to go back as well. Since Meng Yao was fine, she really wanted to go back. Well, you can come any time. If it's not convenient, I can go and visit you. After all, it's a bit far, and I'm afraid it'll be inconvenient for you guys. Meng Yao said. Daddy's just a normal person. He can't handle it. That's fine. I'll send a car to pick them up. The Grand Elder said quickly. She was afraid that Meng Yao would delay her training if she went back to Donghai, so she'd rather send someone to pick up Yi Wan-er and Pingzhan. That's still a long journey, right? The eldest young misthought for a moment and asked, Is there a cultivation method that is suitable for Daddy to cultivate and is easier to do? After all, Pingzhan was old, and he wasn't a practitioner, but Meng Yao wanted him to live a long life. So how could he let go of this opportunity? About this, Yi Wan-er, you can go to the library later and see if there's anything suitable, the Grand Elder said. Thank you, Grand Elder. Yi Wan-er was pleasantly surprised. She didn't think that her life would be filled with hope all of a sudden, all because of her daughter. What are you thanking me for? I'm the palace master of the Dark Palace, and you're my mother, as well as the previous palace master. What's the difference between the palace of Dark Palace and our own? Meng Yao said. Right, Grand Elder? Of course. The Grand Elder said quickly. Qibing's heart was cold. It was over, it was all over. The palace of Dark Palace had become Meng Yao's world, and his future was going to be tough. What should he do? Zhao Qibing fell into deep thought. He had to find a new way out. Right? Is there a foundation pill or something? My dad's so old, and it's hard enough for him to practice. Even Qibing has taken a qi gathering pill, and my dad hasn't. Is it okay? Meng Yao asked. Foundation pill. The Grand Elder was very troubled. He wasn't the one who told her dad to practice. She was the one who suggested it. Now you're saying that it's hard to practice without a foundation pill? Are you trying to trick me? Plus, Qibing's foundation egg wasn't provided by the Palace of Dark Palace. It was from the hidden house Xiao. But as unhappy as the Grand Elder was, she still said, we don't have that. You know that the Palace of Dark Palace doesn't have a refiner, but we do have some ingredients. But they're not finished products. Oh, the ingredients don't matter. Lin Yi knows how to concoct pills, so give them to me. Meng Yao didn't hold back at all. Mom, you can just take the ingredients for the pill later and let Lin Yi make it for you. Okay, Yao Yao. Saw how confident Meng Yao was, and her heart skipped a beat. She wondered what the relationship between Lin Yi and Meng Yao was. If he was just a bodyguard, he wouldn't listen to Meng Yao like this, would he? But Warner didn't ask. After all, she hadn't raised her daughter since she was young, and it wasn't her place to ask about her daughter's private life. The Grand Elder finally sent Warner away and let out a sigh of relief. Although Warner took a lot of good stuff from the Palace of Dark Palace, the Grand Elder couldn't care less about it. Sending her away so that Meng Yao could practice in peace was the Grand Elder's biggest wish. Meng Yao, on the other hand, didn't say anything. She followed the Grand Elder's wishes and participated in the ceremony. After that, under the worship of the disciples, she became the new palace master of Dark Palace, Zhao Qibing. The first thing Meng Yao did as the new palace master was to punish Zhao Qibing. Palace master, your disciple is here. Zhao Qibing was sweating profusely, regretting his choice. Of all the ancient sects he could have chosen, why did he have to choose the Palace of Dark Palace? Motherfucker, this Meng Yao wouldn't stop until she killed him. Chapter 31:12. Fortunately, Sky Elixir had a grudge with Lin Yi. Although he didn't know why the head of Sky Elixir helped Lin Yi once, it was probably because he didn't like the Dark Palace and helped Lin Yi. Zhao Qibing didn't believe that Sky Elixir could build a friendship with Lin Yi. Besides, Kong Mingming had called him to show off, saying that he cut off Lin Yi's source of income. Under his suggestion, Sky Elixir had taken over the entire Cultivator Trade Association's medicinal market. This way, Lin Yi would be in trouble financially. Although he couldn't hurt Lin Yi physically, he could hurt him mentally. So, Zhao Qibing believed that as long as he had a good relationship with the young head of Sky Elixir, he'd be able to kill Lin Yi. The young head of Sky Elixir was a man. He couldn't be Lin Yi's woman, could he? Fortunately, he had a trick up his sleeve. Just wait and see how I'll play you to death. From today onwards, you'll be cleaning the toilets. Meng Yao said faintly. Yes. Qibing didn't reject it. A wise man knows when to fight when the odds are against him. He knew that Meng Yao would think of other ways to get back at him if he rejected her, so he agreed without hesitation. Sky Elixir. Vice Chairman Ouyang didn't say anything, but in the Cultivator Trade Association, the Honorable Grand Elder's spy reported the news of Lin Yi's visit. Although it wasn't specific, it was easy to guess that Lin Yi was defeated. This wasn't a secret. It spread quickly in Sky Elixir, and naturally, Tian Cha knew about it. But even if she wanted to help, there was nothing she could do. She couldn't disobey the Xianqin ancestor's orders for no reason, could she? That way, no matter how stupid the ancestor was, he'd be able to tell that she was helping Lin Yi. There was nothing she could do. Although Tian Chan was a strong headmaster, When it came to small matters, the Xianqin ancestor couldn't help but interfere. Tian Dai, who stood beside Tian Chan, was surprised. Why would Tian Chan pay so much attention to Lin Yi? Was there something special about this Lin Yi? But Tian Dai didn't find anything special. He was just a freelancer. If she didn't help him last time, then Lin Yi wouldn't be able to deal with the Dark Palace. However, in Tian Dai's eyes, Tian Chan was always right. No matter what Tian Chan did, she would blindly follow. Since Tian Chan paid attention to Lin Yi, Tian Dai decided to pay attention to Lin Yi as well. Tian Dai, help me investigate if Lin Yi is short of money. Tian Chan didn't know about Lin Yi's company. These things were too far away from her, so she was going to let Tian Dai find out more. Yes, young headmaster. Tian Dai responded and disappeared from Tian Chan's window. After Tian Dai left, Tian Chan's face blushed. She pursed her lips and was at a loss about the future. I seem to have feelings that don't belong to me. I like Lin Yi. If that's the case, what should I do in the future? She couldn't be an inheritor, but her identity was still the young headmaster of Heavenly Elixir Sect. Her brother wasn't qualified to be the young headmaster at all. Tian Chan couldn't bear to push him up by force. However, in this way, Tian Chan couldn't recover her identity as a female. Even if she could meet Lin Yi again, she could only use the identity of Tian Chan and not the Sky Silkworm transformation. She had to bury this secret forever. Patriarch Xuanqin's room. Father-in-law, good news. Lin Yi went to the Cultivator Trade Association to sell elixirs, but they didn't accept it. Kong Mingming told the news to Patriarch Xianqin excitedly. And there's nothing to be excited about. This matter isn't a big deal. Patriarch Xianqin waved his hand faintly and said it can only cause some financial troubles for Lin Yi. It can't hurt him too much. That's true. By the way, Lin Yi asked me just now, how is the Qi gathering elixir? Father-in-law, when can we start refining elixirs for Lin Yi? Kong Mingming asked. There's no hurry for the time being. What happened to Little One and Little 11 last time has already aroused Boss Bai's vigilance. If Lin Yi dies from eating elixirs this time, he definitely won't let it go. Let's wait a little longer. When the wood attribute inheritor is completely cultivated, I won't be afraid anymore and can deal with Lin Yi freely, Patriarch Xianqin said. Okay, father-in-law. For this period of time, we'll continue to refine first grade and second grade elixirs, right? Kong Mingming asked. That's right. Use all the money of our 5 elements sect to buy materials for first grade and second grade elixirs, and then refine them as soon as possible. You should know that the demand of the Cultivator Trade Association is very high. We'll saturate this market so that Lin Yi can't do anything. Patriarch Xianqin said, moreover, we'll also refine more inventory. In case we don't have time to refine in the future, the Cultivator Trade Association won't run out of stock. Okay, I understand. Kong Mingming nodded. However, in fact, even if the people of the Heavenly Elixir Sect and the 5 Elements Sect refined elixirs together, the cost of the elixirs was not low. After all, even if it was first grade and second grade elixirs, it was impossible to guarantee the success rate if they refined too many. Moreover, if they refined too many, they wouldn't have enough energy, and the rate of failure would also increase. Moreover, not all the elixir masters were second grade and third grade elixir masters. There were many elixir master disciples. It would be good if they could successfully refine 1 out of 2 elixir masters. Fortunately, although the cost was high, the selling price was higher. Even if it was cheaper, there was still a lot of profit. Otherwise, with Patriarch Xuanqin's personality, he wouldn't do a loss-making business. There were many ways to attack Lin Yi, so there was no need to make a loss by harming others without benefiting himself. It was Patriarch Xuanqin's personality to harm others and benefit himself at the same time. Half of Dongfang Hao's eye socket was cut off. Although he took the small reversion pill and stopped the bleeding, the eye socket could not be regenerated. When he went back, he could only think of a way to make a fake eyeball and a protective shell. Everyday and everyday sect, I'm not done with you. After Dongfang Hao ran away, he squatted in a deserted place and panted heavily. He took out his phone and dialed Dongfang Jinxing's number. Dongfang Hao, how is it? Have you arrived at East Ocean City? Is everything going well? Have you found out who killed Dongfang Jian? Dongfang Jinxing asked. Master, I have found out. It's the everyday and everyday sect. Dongfang Hao gritted his teeth and said, But I'm also seriously injured. Chapter 31:13. Yes, he's still here. Dongfang Hao angrily said, It's like this. I came to the Cultivator Trade Association's Market Square today to ask around. After saying that, Dongfang Hao told Dongfang Jinxing what happened. After Dongfang Jinxing heard it, he flew into a rage. It's the everyday and everyday sect again? Are you sure they did it? Young Master. Don't forget that young Master Bu Sheng died to Zhang Naipeo's dark demon of Hell Fist, and I fell for it as well. That magical feeling can't be faked. At least, other than the dark demon of Hell Fist of everyday and day sect. I don't know of any other sect's techniques that have such magical effects. Dongfang Hard said with certainty. What you said makes sense. The everyday and everyday sect. We will remember this grudge. You don't have to worry about Dongfang Jian's grudge for now. I don't dare to take revenge for Dongfang Balu for now, so don't be rash. Dongfang Jinxing advised. He was afraid that Dongfang Hao would do something stupid and clash with the everyday and everyday sect. I know that, young patriarch. Don't worry, I also know that I'm not their match. The people of that sect are all freaks, and they can even fight people of a higher level. Dongfang Hard nodded his head and said, The matter of revenge has to be considered in the long run. With an enemy, it will be easy, as long as you understand. Also, don't provoke the Cultivator Trade Association if you can. You also said that the vice president might have been threatened by the everyday and everyday sect. Actually, this matter has nothing to do with him. Let's forget about it in the future. It's not appropriate for our Dongfang clan to make too many enemies now. Dongfang Jinxing reminded. I understand. I won't. Dongfang Hard hurriedly said. In truth, he didn't blame Vice President Ouyang. Although Vice President Ouyang had slashed him, it was only to save his life. Dongfang Hard placed all his hatred on the everyday and everyday sect. From his point of view, if it wasn't for the everyday and everyday sect's coercion, would the Cultivator Trade Association need to give them false testimony? The only possibility was that the everyday and everyday sect was too powerful, and the Cultivators Trade Association didn't dare to offend them, so they helped them hide it. After all, even though the Dongfang clan was a top-notch ancient sect, it was still a far cry from the everyday and everyday sect. What you need to do now is to work with Dongfang Burua and capture Su Shihan. Then return to the Dongfang family immediately. Don't do anything else. Dongfang Jinxing ordered. Yes. Dongfang Hard was injured at the moment. He could only deal with Su Shihan and the people around her. He didn't have the guts or ability to deal with the disciples of the everyday and everyday sect. It was the same as sending himself to his death. AI, it would be great if those two ancestors were there. It would be easier if they took action. Dongfang Jinxing hung up and suddenly sighed. But Dongfang Jinxing only thought about it. These two ancestors had disappeared for more than 10 years without any news. Although the Dongfang family had 2 peak heaven rank, great perfection powerhouses in name, it was only in name. This was also the reason why Dongfang Jinxing had been enduring. Nothing could be done about it. Although their great perfection powerhouses had left, a successor had appeared, but the Dongfang family had no successor. Dongfang Badeo and Dongfang Yinxing hadn't rushed up yet. This made Dongfang Jinxing sullenly remember this debt. After Dongfang Hard rested for a while, he quickly rushed to the hotel where Dongfang Burua was staying. But when Dongfang Burua opened the door, he was shocked. What's wrong with your head? Dongfang Burua was puzzled. Why did his father send him an injured person? The two who weren't injured were already dead. What could this injured person do? I met an enemy, it's nothing. I'll go with you to find Su Shirhan tonight. Dongfang hard shook his head, indicating that he was fine. But can you fight them in this state? Dongfang Burua asked worriedly. It's okay. The great elder of the Dark Palace has already left with Meng Yao. There's no threat in the villa now. Dongfang Chong waved his hand. He had investigated this beforehand. That's why he dared to help Dongfang Burua cause trouble for Su Shirhan. If the Grand Elder hadn't left yet, then he'd better run. Okay, then we'll go when it's dark. Dongfang Burua nodded and didn't ask any more. Since Dongfang Hard didn't want to say anything, he didn't care. 5 Elements Sect. Second Senior Brother Xianzhen, why are you looking for me? Patriarch Xianqin asked Patriarch Xianzhen with a smile. Xianqin, I heard that you told the elders and disciples of 5 Elements Sect and Sky Elixir Sect to start refining first and second level elixirs? Elder Xuanjin frowned. Aren't you just wasting time? Do we still need to refine those things? It's like this, second brother. I'm doing this for our 5 Elements Sect. Although our 5 Elements Sect came down from the supreme level, this is a society of money. We don't have enough money. We don't even have enough materials to buy elixirs. We just want to earn more money. Elder Xianqin smiled bitterly. Second brother, you're not the head of the sect, so you don't know how expensive things are. You need a lot of elixirs to refine the suppressive elixirs. You also need a lot of supplementary ingredients. Don't you need money to buy them? Our 5 Elements Sect doesn't have that much savings. We can only rely on selling these elixirs to make money. Is that so? Elder Xuanjin paused. He really didn't know about this. He wasn't the head of the sect, so he didn't know how much savings 5 Elements Sect had. Hearing Xuanjin's words, it seemed to make sense. He didn't say anything more. If that's the case, then you guys can continue. All right, second brother, you don't have to worry about these things. Just focus on refining the elixirs. I'll take care of these trivial matters. Elder Xuanqin's words were dignified, but in fact, only he and Kong Mingming knew about it. Oh right, I called you here because there's one more thing. Ask Kong Mingming to help me. I don't have enough manpower to refine the elixirs. I need to find a trustworthy and capable disciple to help. Elder Xuanjin said. Chapter 30, 114. That's fine, but with the heavenly elixir sex matters, she'll be busy. Ancestor Xianzhen had no choice but to nod his head. How about this? I'll go find her myself. Don't delay the operations of the heavenly elixir sect. That's fine, second senior brother. Ancestor Xianzhen didn't mind. Ancestor Xianzhen didn't waste any time. He packed his things and went to find Tian Chan. The plan for Heaven Grade Island was about to begin. He had to start concocting the first defensive pill. Otherwise, he wouldn't have enough time. Tian Chan was slightly surprised by Ancestor Xian Zhen's arrival. Master, why did you come personally? If there's anything, call me, and I'll be there. I'm here to stay. I need your help with something. Patriarch Xianqin said, it's like this. I'm going to refine the first defensive pill to start the Heaven Stage Island plan. However, I need someone to help me from the side because I can't refine this pill alone. Someone needs to replace me in the middle of it. Oh, Master, please tell me if you have any instructions. But to replace you halfway, although I am also a 3rd grade alchemist, if there is a small error in my control of temperature, it will be completely useless. After Tian Chan heard this, her expression became serious as she spoke. Hee, you don't have to worry about this. I have a divine artifact here that's specially used to refine this pill. Ancestor Xianjin laughed and said proudly, Oh, there's such a divine artifact? Tian Chan was stunned. What's that? That's it. Ancestor Xianzhen took out a third-grade cauldron from his bag. However, this cauldron was different from other cauldrons. There was a row of thermometers and a few stopwatches on it. It looked very strange. What's this? It looks so strange. Tian Chan looked at the cauldron in Ancestor Xianzhen's hand. Is it sick? Why are there so many thermometers on it? Pooh. Cough, cough. Ancestor Xianzhen looked at Tian Chan's naive look and coughed. He wanted to show off a bit, but Tian Chan didn't know what was good for her. Patriarch Xianzhen had no choice but to personally explain. This godly artifact was modified by a genius girl I met many years ago. Genius girl? Transform? What's the use of this? Tian Chan asked in surprise. Tian Chan, look here. There is a stopwatch. There is a thermometer, right? There is a scale on the thermometer, right? Xianzhen Patriarch said proudly as he pointed at the item on the cauldron. I see it, but what's the use of this? Tian Chan was very puzzled. It's very useful. The scale on the thermometer is the temperature that the stopwatch needs to count down. I just need to follow the time on the stopwatch and condense the alchemy fire at this temperature. Then, I don't need to worry about anything else. I just need to watch the temperature of the thermometer and wait for the stopwatch to finish counting down. Then, the next stopwatch will start automatically. At this time, I still need to adjust the alchemy fire according to the temperature on the stopwatch and continue to maintain the temperature. Then, I wait for the stopwatch to finish counting down, and so on until the next stopwatch. Ancestor Xianzhen said. Is it that simple? Tian Chan was a little surprised. Doesn't that mean that if we strictly follow the instructions, we can have a 100% success rate? Of course. Ancestor Xianzhen nodded and said, That's why we call it a godly artifact. It's very useful. As long as we can master the temperature of the alchemy fire, we can smoothly form the alchemy fire. The success rate can reach 100%. God, it's really magical, Tian Chan exclaimed. But this seems very complicated. Can it be used to refine other pills? That's not possible. The mechanisms on top are all set up. They can only be used to refine pills used on Heavenly Island. Ancestor Xianzhen shook his head regretfully and said, These mechanisms are calculated through a series of complicated functions and formulas. It's not something that can be changed by ordinary people. We can't do it. Don't look at these mechanical things. That's just the surface. There's actually a single-chip microcomputer inside. Single-chip chicken? What's that? Is it a spirit beast? No matter how Tian Chan looked at it, this medicine cauldron didn't look like it could be used to rear small animals. Ahem. It's an electronic component. It's like the central processor in a computer. We only need to follow the temperature and time on top. However, we've neglected an important thing. That is the intensity of the fire. This single-chip microcomputer can automatically change the amount of fire in the medicine cauldron through the temperature and time we input. It's similar to a stove head in order to achieve the purpose of changing the intensity of the fire. It's very complicated and can't be used on other things. Ancestor Xianzhen explained. Then, the person who invented this thing is really a genius. Tian Chan couldn't imagine that alchemy could actually be so high-tech. Yes, otherwise, I wouldn't have given that thing to her. Ancestor Xianzhen nodded. That thing? Tian Chan was taken aback. Is it the one you gave Little Peach? Yes, that's it. Ancestor Xianzhen nodded and said, It was originally prepared for you and Tianyin, but I didn't expect it to be used. I really want to meet this genius. Tian Chan said, My surname is also Tian. How can I not be a genius? Tian Chan, I suddenly realize that you become very cute today. Are you planning to restore your female body? Ancestor Xianzhen suddenly realized that something was wrong and suddenly asked, I didn't. Tian Chan's face turned red. Although she said that she didn't, her expression betrayed her. AI, it's been hard on you. If you really can't do it, just restore it. I'll nurture Tian in again. Ancestor Xianzhen felt sorry for his disciple. No need, master. Let's start alchemy now. Tian Chan shook her head, but said firmly, it doesn't matter. I'm fine now. And since that's the case, I won't say any more. In a while, when my physical strength and true qi can't keep up, you can directly connect me here. During the alchemy process, there's a small pause here. This is also the reason why two people can refine. Ancestor Xianzhen pointed to a stopwatch and a temperature scale above the medicine cauldron. Okay, I understand. Tian Chan was also an alchemist. It was easy for her to understand Ancestor Xianzhen's meaning. Chapter 31:15. Who? Han Jingjing stretched her waist and rubbed her big watery eyes. She put the small stove in her hand on the table. She was very satisfied with her invention. After a month of research day and night, she finally succeeded in making the finished product. Han Jingjing was very excited. She didn't care about her exhaustion. She took the small stove on the table and rushed downstairs. She went straight to Lin Yi's villa. When Lin Yi heard the hurried knock on the door, he thought it was Dongfang who came looking for him. He didn't expect to see Han Jingjing when he went out. He was stunned. Jingjing, didn't you go back for seclusion? Why are you here again? Big brother Lin Yi, Jingjing's invention succeeded. So I quickly came to show it to you. Han Jingjing held the small stove in her hand like a child who got 100 marks in a test. She was very happy. Big brother Lin Yi, do you think Jingjing is great? Ugh, what is this? Lin Yi pointed at the small stove in Han Jingjing's hand and asked curiously, it looks like a first-grade medicine cauldron. But why is there an LCD screen on it? Hee, yes, it is a first-grade medicine cauldron, but it is an automatic first-grade medicine cauldron. Han Jingjing said proudly, this is Jingjing's latest invention. First-grade medicine cauldron? Automatic? Lin, he was stunned. He asked with widened eyes, can I understand that your medicine cauldron can automatically refine pills? Of course, it can't be done automatically. It must be operated by an alchemist. Han Jingjing explained, however, it is much simpler. With this automatic first-grade medicine cauldron, the alchemist's body doesn't need to have the wood attribute, only the fire attribute. In fact, it is the same as Jingjing's scientific alchemy. There is a hint on when to change the temperature of the alchemy fire. As long as the temperature of the alchemy fire is changed according to the time period, the automatic first-grade medicine cauldron can automatically adjust the fire according to the existing formula to replace the role of the wood attribute. In this way, the threshold of an alchemist is much lower. This you can produce a product now. Lin Yi looked at Han Jingjing incredulously. He really didn't know what to say. If possible, Lin Yi really wanted to pry open Han Jingjing's little head to see what kind of structure was inside. Automatic medicine cauldron. Only she could think of it, right? That's right, that's right. Jingjing saw that big brother Lin Yi is very short of money, so she invented this medicine cauldron. If it was sold to those hidden families and ancient sects, it could be sold for a sky-high price. You have to know this is a high-tech product that can allow their alchemists to have a 100% success rate. Han Jingjing said. Jingjing. Lin Yi took a deep breath. He really didn't know what to say. Han Jingjing hadn't been in seclusion for more than a month. So this was what she was busy with. Was it because he was short of money? Looking at Han Jingjing's thin face, Lin Yi couldn't help but hug Han Jingjing in his arms. You've worked hard. Han Jingjing was hugged by Lin Yi. Her body was slightly stiff, but her eyes flashed a touch of happiness. She didn't struggle and just leaned into Lin Yi's arms. She was indeed tired. Han Jingjing was almost exhausted to death for more than a month. If she wasn't a cultivator, I'm afraid she really couldn't bear it. It's okay. As long as I can help Big Brother Lin Yi, Jingjing will be happy, Han Jingjing said. This first-grade medicine cauldron can currently refine 10 different kinds of medicinal pills. But Jingjing suggested to make 3 kinds of medicine cauldrons. One is a medicine cauldron that contains 5 kinds of common medicinal pills. One is a medicine cauldron that contains a single medicinal pill, and the last one is a limited edition that can refine 10 kinds of medicinal pills. It contains 2 or 3 kinds that are not in the 5 kinds of medicinal pills and not in the single medicinal pill. This way, the rarer it is, the more precious it is. It can be taken out for auction. Lin Yi suddenly realized that Han Jingjing's business mind was also very heaven-defying. It was originally a product, but she just casually changed it into 5 in 1, 10 in 1, and multiple in 1 automatic first-grade medicine cauldrons. This money was really easy to earn. If this kind of thing was really sold on the market, Lin Yi could foresee how popular it would be. Which sect didn't want to buy this kind of thing? In this way, not only could the success rate of alchemy be increased, but any fire attribute cultivator could also do alchemy. It wasn't necessary to have a wood attribute. In this way, which sect and family wouldn't buy it? If they bought it, they wouldn't have to face the face of the Heavenly Elixir sect and the Cultivator Trade Association. Moreover, they could refine any medicinal pill they wanted at any time, anywhere. How awesome and convenient was that? Moreover, what made Lin Yi most happy was that Kong Mingming had brought out a whole bunch of first and second-grade medicinal pills to support Lin Yi's business. Now it was great. Lin Yi couldn't do anything about second-grade medicinal pills at the moment, but as for first-grade medicinal pills, Kong Mingming would probably have mountains of them in his hands in the future. Either he sold them cheaply, or else who would buy them? It would be much cheaper to refine them himself, and the cost would be much lower. Lin Yi was just thinking about how to screw over Kong Mingming this time, and Han Jingjing had sent him such a heaven-defying thing. It was really like hitting a pillow while dozing off. When Kong Mingming found out, he would probably be fuming, wouldn't he? Jingjing, this thing of yours has really solved a big problem, Lin Yi said with a sigh. The money of ancient sects and hidden aristocratic families wasn't easy to earn. One of Lin Yi's pill of life extension and toxin cleansing could be auctioned for a few $100 million in the common world. But would it be the same in the hidden world or ancient world? Of course not. It was just like how fruits had a different price in their country of origin, and a different price when transported by air to a foreign country. But Han Jingjing's thing was a killing machine for money. Yes, but I don't know how much I'll sell it for or how I'll sell it for. Han Jingjing said, but Big Bro Lin Yi, you can give the distribution rights to the secular Liu family and let them produce and sell it. The secular Liu family? Lin Yi was slightly taken aback. Originally, Lin Yi had planned to cooperate with the Cultivator Trade Association's Vice President Ouyang. After all, Vice President Ouyang was a trustworthy friend, and Lin Yi naturally couldn't forget him when he had something good to do. But he didn't expect that Han Jingjing would actually suggest giving the distribution rights to the Liu family. Chapter 31:16. Yes, thank you, Linny bro. Han Jingjing said happily. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This is something you invented yourself. Even if you didn't give it to me, I wouldn't be able to say anything if you cooperated with House Liu. Why are you thanking me? No, Jingjing's stuff belongs to Lin Yi. Bro Jingjing doesn't have any ideas, Han Jingjing said in Lin Yi's arms. What the hell, Shield Bro, you're too fast. Although Yao Yao and I both acknowledge Jingjing, you can't just start hugging Yao Yao right after she left. You have to bring Shu with you in the villa. Yushu's voice came from behind Lin Yi. Han Jingjing was a little shy. She struggled out of Lin Yi's arms and looked at Yushu. Jingjing's a little tired. Lin Yi bro, help me up. I know. Eh, what's this? Yushu pointed at the automatic cauldron in Lin Yi's hands. This is Jing Jing's invention. Lin Yi said and explained the function of the cauldron to Yushu. No way. Jing Jing, you're amazing. Shield Bro is rich this time. Yushu's eyes were wide open as she looked at the automatic cauldron in Lin Yi's hands. Ha! Lin Yi smiled. Han Jingjing was a little embarrassed from the compliment. Right, Shield Bro, there's a computer program in this thing, right? Yushu asked suddenly. Yeah, of course there is, Lin Yi nodded. Then you guys have to be careful. If there's a computer program in there, it'll have to be encrypted. Those ancient sects and hidden houses might not know about it, but if someone they know knows about it, we won't be able to sell our products if it's pirated. Yushu reminded. You're right. There are a lot of pirated things out there. It'd be a big loss if someone pirated it. Lin Yi listened to Yushu's reminder. He nodded. Shu, you're really thoughtful. Jing Jing, and I didn't think of this. Yes, Lin Yi bro, Shu's right. We have to encrypt it. Han Jingjing also nodded and said, but Jingjing isn't good at hacker knowledge like encryption and decryption of computer programs. I don't feel at ease asking for help. This is a difficult problem. Hacker? Lin Yi smiled all of a sudden. I have a good friend. She's really good with computers. She's good at hacking, especially. Looks like it won't be a problem to hand it over to her. Moreover, I have 2 madams who are also computer experts. When the time comes, I will encrypt the program. I have it. I'm afraid that the ancient sects and the hidden houses won't be able to get it. That's good. Yushu was a little surprised. She didn't expect Lin Yi to know someone like that. Then, Big Brother Lin Yi, here's a flash drive. The design plan of the first-grade automatic medicine cauldron and the source code of the microcontroller are all here. You can start researching and producing it. Jingjing has to go back and continue researching. Han Jingjing said. Continue the research? What else do you want to study? Isn't that enough? Lin Yi was slightly stunned. This is only grade 1. There are still grade 2 and grade 3. But grade 1 is a bit easier. After many experiments, I found out that the materials for grade 1 cauldrons can be replaced by titanium alloy. However, grade 2 cauldrons are not so easy. If we were to produce them, we wouldn't be able to mass market them without a substitute. So, Jing Jing still has to continue working hard. Then I'll have to trouble you. Lin Yi didn't stop her. Instead, he encouraged her. Jing Jing, it's up to you to earn money in the future. Okay. Jing Jing will be Lin Yi Gij's money tree from now on. Han Jingjing smiled and waved at Lin Yi before running back to her villa happily. Lin Yi bro, do you think that Han Jingjing approaching you, helping you with the pill and helping you with the invention of this thing has a purpose? Yushu asked after Han Jingjing left. HM? Lin Yi paused. Yushu rarely spoke to him in such a formal tone. But it had to be something important. I can't tell, but it's hard to imagine what purpose she has. Yeah, a girl who's willing to sacrifice her life for you. What purpose could she have? Yushu shook her head, confused. Shu doesn't know what to say. Han Jingjing helped you so much, even creating such a magical thing for you to earn money. Could it be that she really admires Shield Bro just like Shu? Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Shu's words. If she's like you, then that means she's very scheming. Damn, Shield Bro's mocking Shu for being scheming. Yushu wasn't happy. It's not mocking. At least you wouldn't do anything to me, right? Lin Yi smiled. I don't think Han Jingjing would either, so I won't ask if she doesn't want to talk about it. She's done enough for me, and Yao Yao sis. Yushu reminded. Yeah, I'll go to the Palace of Darkness to visit Yao Yao when things are done here. Lin Yi nodded solemnly. Yushu only went back to watch TV after hearing that. Lin Yi called Little Jiao after going back to his room. There were some things that Lin Yi wouldn't run away from since he'd chosen to face them. After accepting the miss and Han Jingjing one after another, Lin Yi's attitude changed a little, since the people around him had changed because of him, and this change was irreversible. Why should he try to resist? He might as well let nature take its course. Eagle, the ninth princess, paused when she received Lin Yi's call. Just call me Linny from now on, or call me Brother E, like Little Seven does. Lin Yi said. I don't need Eagle anymore. The ninth princess was surprised. You're not going to do business with me anymore? No matter what, I can't change the fact that we grew up together. Why should I change it? Lin Yi smiled. Little Joe, what's your decision? It's about your biological parents and brother. Chapter 30, 117. What do you mean accept you? Lin Yi was taken aback. Let me be your girlfriend. Lil Joe said, Didn't you say that if you can't change, then don't change? What I mean is, we're childhood sweethearts. What does that have to do with you being my girlfriend? Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly. Lil Joe really knew how to push her luck. Isn't childhood sweetheart a girlfriend? Lil Joe asked back. Chi-Chi and I are childhood sweethearts, so she's my girlfriend too? Wouldn't both of you be my girlfriends then? Lin Yi asked back. That's right, who says we aren't? Lil Joe said matter-of-factly. Godfather has so many wives. Lin Yi was speechless. Let's not talk about this for now. Inheritors can't do that. So the girlfriend thing, we'll put it off for now. I know, we won't go to bed for now. Hugs are still fine, Lil Ju said. Lil Ju, when did you become so impure? Lin Yi sweated. Do you expect a girl who spends all her time on the internet to be pure? I can't even tell if she's a man or a woman anymore. Lil Ju said. Lin Yi was speechless. Then let's talk when we meet? It's such a serious matter, we can't talk about it over the phone. Sure. Lil Joe didn't say much to Lin Yi this time, knowing when to stop. If she didn't know about Lin Yi's change from Chi-Chi, she wouldn't have been able to push him so hard today. If it were the old Lin Yi, he probably wouldn't have said anything at all. Right, Lil Joe, I'm calling you this time because I need your help with something. Lin Yi said. Are you good at encrypting MCU programs? MCU. Most of the MCU programs on the market can be decrypted. Why do you ask? Lil Joe was confused as to why Lin Yi would ask about this. It's like this. Lin Yi told Little Nine about how Han Jingjing had invented an automatic medicine cauldron that could be used to refine pills. Oh, that's easy. Send me the source code, and then I'll help you encrypt it and put it into a kind of single-chip microcomputer that Godmother and I developed in the past. There's no information on this kind of single-chip microcomputer. The encryption is very powerful, and it's very difficult to decrypt it, Little Joe said directly after listening. Okay, then I'll send it to your email later. Lin Yi was relieved that he had settled one thing. Yes. Aren't you going to generate a lot of programs? What do you want for each one? Tell me, and I'll help you rearrange the encryption. Little Nine said, No problem. Lin Yi nodded. How's Chi-Chi recently? It's still the same. After Sister 7 knows that I don't have to run around for my illness, she'll focus on helping you find the blue crystal and the other things. Once there's news, I'll inform you, Little Nine said. Okay, I won't be busy for a while. I'll go back and take a look, Linny said. After ending the call with Little Joe, Lin Yi hesitated for a moment. He dialed Lu Jingen's phone directly. This time, Lin Yi didn't look for Lu Tianyi directly, but Lu Jinghan directly. Lin Yi didn't know why. Maybe he wanted to prove something? Mr. Lin Yi? Lu Jinghan quickly picked up the phone. Her voice sounded a little happy, but also a little worried. Miss Lu Jinghan, I heard that the bank has begun to collect debts? Lin Yi asked directly. Yes, the Lu family owed a lot of debts before. Lu Jinghan didn't hide it. Instead, she told the truth. But Jinghan is already working hard to find new money-making projects. You don't have to keep the change. I'll give you one. Lin said and told Lu Jinghan about the automatic first-grade medicine cauldron that Han Jingjing had invented. There's such a magical thing. Jinghan really admires the person who invented it. Lu Jinghan said with some guilt. Jinghan just got a bargain like this? It's not good, right? There's nothing bad about it. This is the person who invented it. She said that she wanted to give it to your Lu family. She is very important to me, and her words are also very important to me. So it's a bargain for your Lu family, said Lin Yi. And then, Lu Jinghan was suddenly a little excited. What did you say? Lin Yi was slightly stunned. I'm sorry, Mr. Lin. Jinghan is a little lost. It's really this thing is too magical. It makes Jinghan very excited. I think that after this thing is on the market, those hidden families and ancient sects will come to please the Lu family. Lu Jinghan said sincerely, Well, the marketing plan of this matter will be handed over to you. Lin nodded and didn't say anything more to Lu Jinghan. I hope you won't disappoint my friend's efforts. You must make this medicine cauldron well. Mr. Lin, please rest assured. Jinghan will do her best. Lu Jinghan promised. That's good. I won't say anything more. Lin Yi said. However, you'd better come to East Ocean City to pick up the sample. After all, I'm not too assured if I send it to you. Also, you haven't come into contact with the principal of the medicine cauldron. So I want to tell you personally, in fact, these words of Lin Yi were just excuses. In Lin Yi's heart, there was suddenly a very persistent thought, and that was to see Lu Jinghan. Lu Jinghan, Jingjing, Han Jingjing. Could there be any relationship between them? However, Lin Yi felt that it was not very likely. However, Lu Jing'an's NN seemed to have touched something deep in Lin Yi's heart. It made Lin Yi insist on seeing her. Okay, then I'll rush over today. We can meet tomorrow. Lu Jinghan agreed readily without the slightest hesitation. This made Lin Yi a little disappointed. It seemed that some of his ideas should be wrong. See you tomorrow. Lin Yi nodded and hung up the phone without any interest. Then Lin Yi began to continue to study, condensing the forging fire. Now that Lin Yi's technique of condensing the forging fire was getting more and more skilled, Lin Yi didn't dare to condense the jade pendant space easily because the materials he had were extremely limited. If the refining failed, then Lin Yi wouldn't be able to find a place to cry. This thing also had a success rate like alchemy. Although failure wouldn't cause any damage to the jade pendant, the materials would be lost. Therefore, Lin Yi must have more than 80% confidence before he dared to make a move. At night, Lin Yi was condensing the jade pendant space when he suddenly felt a car parked outside the villa. The two people in the car were both cultivators. Chapter 3118. Lin Yi stood up and walked out of the room. Since they were already here, Lin Yi didn't want to let them in. After all, Dongfeng Burua was a practitioner, and Lin Yi didn't want him to hurt Su Shirhan and Yushu. One had to know that this guy was a pervert. Even if he didn't do anything to Su Shirhan and Yushu, it would still make Lin Yi uncomfortable. Young Master Burua will leave after we get Su Shirhan. Don't cause any more trouble. Dongfeng Hard said to Dongfeng Burua after getting out of the car. I understand. Dongfeng Burua didn't like Dongfeng Hard's tone, but he knew that so many people had died. It was best to end this quickly, but he didn't want to give up. The Grand Elder of the Dark Palace took away a female student, and there was still one left. If he could get the other one with Su Shirhan, that would be great. But he couldn't say it out loud. Dongfeng Hard was about to enter when he saw Lin Yi standing in front of the villa. He jumped. It's you. Young Master Burua, run, I'll cover you. Dongfeng Chang exclaimed, subconsciously. He'd experienced Lin Yi's strength back at the Cultivator Trade Association, and he'd had to run for his life. Now that he was heavily injured, he couldn't use his full strength at all. He couldn't even protect Dongfang Burua, let alone defeat Lin Yi. He had to get Dongfang Burua to leave. Dongfang Burua paused, but he wasn't an idiot. If Dongfang Burua told him to run, then there must be danger. Dongfang Burua didn't care about Dongfang Hard's life and jumped into the car. Lin Yi frowned. Lin Yi wanted to keep both Dongfang Burua and Dongfang Hard here, but he didn't expect Dongfang Burua to be so cautious. But keeping one was enough. Fire Bagua Palm, 9th style. While Dongfang Hao was distracted, Lin Yi struck out with the 9th style of the Frenzy 8 trigrams palm. Dongfang Hao was worried that Dongfang Not Weak would not be able to defend himself in time. Lin Yi's palm was right in front of him, and he jumped in fright. He wanted to dodge, but Dongfang Borua's car hadn't started yet. He could only close his eyes helplessly and take the hit head-on, giving Dongfang Burua time to escape. It had to be said that the Dongfang people were very loyal. If he dodged, Lin Yi might have just smacked the car with the palm right before it started. Then Dongfang Burua would definitely die. Boom! Dongfang Chang had already revolved his Heart Sutra and used his true qi to protect his body, but he did not expect that Lin Yi's move would be so powerful that he was directly sent flying. Dongfang Burua's body shot out like a cannonball, smashing heavily into the car that Dongfang Burua had just started. The force was incomparably strong. If it hit Dongfang Burua's car, it would definitely flip over, and this was not what Dongfang Chang wanted to see. Dongfang Chang had no other choice. He could only withdraw his true qi protection and use his own true qi to resist Lin Yi's attack. Originally, Dongfang Chang's injury was not fatal, but this attack reduced the force of his flying. However, at the same time, Dongfang Chang also suffered a serious internal injury. He spat out a mouthful of blood. By the time he landed on the back of Dongfang Burua's car, he was already out of breath, especially since he did not use his true qi protection. The injury on his head was very serious. It was obvious that he would not be able to live. Boom! Boom! At the same time, Dongfang Burua also started his car and quickly disappeared in front of Lin Yi's villa. Looking at Dongfang Burua's car leaving, Lin Yi hesitated for a moment and did not chase after him. The 9th move of the Frenzy 8 trigram palm had already used up most of Lin Yi's true qi. Only a small portion was left, so there was no need to talk about whether or not Lin Yi could catch up to Dongfang Burua. Even if he did, he would have used up most of his true qi. He did not have absolute confidence that he could kill Dongfang Burua. Moreover, there was the possibility of exposing his weakness. It was better to let Dongfang Burua see his strong side and have some fear. Otherwise, the next time he brought 2 heaven-class experts to cause trouble, Lin Yi really would not know how to deal with them. Seeing Dongfang Burua spitting out blood in the rearview mirror, Dongfang Burua thought that he was lucky. That was the power of a heaven-class, mid-stage peak martial skill. Because he wanted to escape, he did not look at Lin Yi's own strength. Instead, he looked at Lin Yi's martial skill. Therefore, he subconsciously thought that Lin Yi was also a heaven-class, mid-stage peak master. If that was the case, then killing Dongfang Burua, who was also injured, would not be a problem. But what did Dongfang Burua mean by that? This person in front of him was from the everyday sect? Since when did the ancient Feng family, or Feng Tianlin, have a connection with the everyday day sect, to the point that they were able to ask someone from the everyday day sect to protect Su Shirhan? Or did Su Shirhan, that bitch, hook up with a disciple from the everyday day sect to be her bodyguard? The first possibility was not high, and from Dongfang Burua's point of view, it was impossible. If Feng Tianlin was really that capable, then he would have been in control of House Feng a long time ago. Why would he need to be afraid of Feng Tianhu? So, from his point of view, The second possibility was the most likely. Dongfang Baraw couldn't help but curse in his heart. Su Shirhan, that bitch, he thought she was pure and innocent. Who would have thought that she was playing with second-hand goods? But the more it was like this, the harder it was for him to calm down. He had to get his hands on Su Shirhan, otherwise he wouldn't be able to take this lying down. But right now, the most important thing was to escape. Lin Yi, naturally, wouldn't let Dongfang Baraw live. The people in the villa heard the commotion outside, and Feng Sanhuang and Wu Qintian quickly came out. Feng Bro, Qintian, you guys take care of this person. Dongfang Baraw didn't need Lin Yi to do anything. He was about to die anyway, so Feng Sanhuang and Qintian found a place to take care of him. Yes, thank you for your help, Mr. Lin. Feng Sanhuang said gratefully. This was a sky-class mid-phase peak master, and Dongfang Baraw wasn't dead yet. Feng Sanhuang could see his strength clearly, and he was shocked. Lin Yi was indeed strong, killing a sky-class mid-phase peak master in one move. But Dongfang Baraw ran away. We couldn't keep him here. Lin Yi sighed. Chapter 30, 119. Oh. Lin Yi turned to look at Feng Sanhuang. The great elder of Dark Palace is powerful, right? But even she wouldn't dare kill Dongfang Baraw. Her goal is to leave a way out for Dongfang family. Feng Sanhuang saw that Lin Yi didn't understand, so he continued, That's why I said it's a good thing. Lin Yi nodded but didn't deny it. Although Feng Sanhuang was right, Lin Yi and the ancient Feng family were already at each other's throats. There was no room for reconciliation. Even if Lin Yi let Dongfang Baraw go, would Dongfang family let Lin Yi go? How could he just let this matter go like this? That was obviously impossible. Lin Yi's guess was right. The first thing Dongfang Baraw did when he got back to the hotel was call Dongfang Jinxing for help. Baraw, you're done, right? Don't stay any longer. Come back to Dongfang family. Dongfang Jinxing picked up the phone and said to Dongfang not weak. He couldn't be blamed for not thinking too much. After all, Dark Palace's Elder Dark Knight had already left. With Dongfang Hard, who was a peak mid-stage heaven-class master, taking care of Su Shirhan would be a piece of cake. Dad, something happened. Dongfang Hard died too. Dongfang Baraw said with a sad face. That person was too strong, just one move, and Dongfang Hard died. Luckily, I ran fast, or else I'd be dead too. What? Dongfang Jinxing was shocked. How did Dongfang Hard die too? What was going on? Didn't the great elder of Dark Palace leave? How did Dongfang Hard die? Dongfang Jinxing quickly asked, Baraw, what happened to you guys? Could it be that the supreme elder of the Dark Palace has returned? No, not from Dark Palace, but from the everyday and everyday sect. Su Shirhan, that bitch, seduced a young master from the everyday and everyday sect. He was also sky-class mid-stage peak and killed Dongfang Baraw in one move. And from the looks of it, Dongfang Hard seems to know that disciple from the everyday and everyday sect. Dongfang Hard did not dare to hide anything. Dongfang Baraw told Dongfang Jinxing everything that had happened in detail. However, Dongfang Baraw did not know that Dongfang Jinxing had suffered at the Cultivator Trade Association, so he only guessed that Dongfang Jinxing knew Lin Yi. Oh, the everyday and everyday sex people are involved? After Dongfang Jinxing heard this, he couldn't help but feel a surge of anger. Dongfang Bushu's death hasn't been settled with you guys yet. Not only did you guys kill Dongfang Jian, but you also colluded with Su Shirhan and killed Dongfang Jiang? This was intolerable. Even if they couldn't kill their way to the everyday and everyday sect, they had to kill this disciple of Su Shirhan. Otherwise, where would the Dongfang family's face go? After all, the Dongfang clan had lost so many people to this disciple of the everyday and everyday sect. How could the Dongfang clan tolerate this? Wouldn't anyone be able to shit on the Dongfang family in the future? Dongfang Jinxing needed to take some measures. But was the other side a peak mid-heaven rank expert? Didn't Dongfang Hao say that the opponent was a heaven rank initial phase expert? Could it be that he leveled up already? But Dongfang Jinxing wasn't stupid. He immediately thought of a problem. Dongfang Barua was in a hurry, so he didn't see the opponent's strength clearly. Judging from the way the opponent killed Dongfang Hao, the opponent should be a peak mid-heaven rank expert. This explained why the everyday and everyday sex disciples were all experts who had the ability to fight against enemies of a higher level. It wasn't strange for an initial phase heaven rank to kill a peak mid-heaven rank expert in a second. Even a peak late phase heaven rank expert like Dongfang Bushu was killed by an initial phase heaven rank expert. Yes, Dad, I can't take this lying down. What should I do? Dongfang Barua said, It's not just you. Even I can't take this lying down. But if we want to find trouble with this person, normal experts won't be able to do anything. He can kill a peak mid-heaven rank expert in a second, which means that his combat ability has already reached late phase heaven rank. Unless we send a peak late phase heaven rank expert out, we won't be able to stop him. Dongfang Jinxing thought it through very clearly. It was just that he overestimated Lin Yi's strength. Hiss! Dongfang Barua was startled and thought that he was lucky. He quickly asked, So, Father, you're not his opponent? I can't say that I'm not his opponent, but at least I don't have the confidence to make him stay. So if we want to deal with them, unless your grandfather or uncle personally comes out, no one in our Dongfang family is his opponent. Dongfang Jinxing sighed. There was no news of the two ancestors. These two super experts of the Dongfang family only existed in name. Then, can grandfather and uncle come out? Dongfang Barua asked. I need to ask about this. He's not weak. During this period of time, find a place to hide and keep a low profile. At least before your grandfather or uncle comes out. Don't act rashly. Dongfang Jinxing warned. Yes, I understand the importance, Dad. Dongfang Barua was not a fool. Dongfang Hao was dead, and he was left alone. Would he dare to act rashly? Wasn't that the same as courting death? Hearing Dongfang Barua's affirmative answer, Dongfang Jinxing breathed a sigh of relief. He hung up the phone and walked quickly to the room where Dongfang Badeo and Dongfang Yinxing were cultivating. Dang, dang, dang. Another knock at the door in the middle of the night. Dongfang Badeo also heard the footsteps of Dongfang Jinxing, so he said, Jinxing, what's the matter? Come in and talk. Father, brother, something big has happened. Dongfang Jinxing felt depressed. Every time he came to the door, something big happened. What's the big thing? Dongfang Badeo was shocked and asked. Dongfang Hao is also dead. Dongfang Jinxing said. Today, Dongfang Hao went to the Cultivator Trading Association and met the disciple of the Everyday and Everyday sect and was injured. In the evening, he met the disciple again and was killed. He told Dongfang Badeo and Dongfang Yinxing in detail. What? The Everyday and Everyday sect again? Dongfang Badeo's eyes flashed with a fierce and insidious look. They are too much. Chapter 3120. Wonderful novels for you to read. Don't be rash. Dongfang Badeo waved his hand. The old man was still very calm. He pondered for a moment and said, I heard that the Day After Day sect has cultivated an important disciple of the Heaven Stage Island plan. We must find out the identity of this disciple of the Day After Day After Day sect. Otherwise, if he is really that important disciple, then things will not be as simple as we think. If we touch him, what is waiting for us? I believe you too are very clear. Didn't Dongfang Jian die because he touched the inheritor of the Dark Knight Palace? If we touch an important disciple nurtured by the Everyday and Everyday sect, then we will become the public enemy of the entire ancient world. This. Dongfang Badeo's words immediately made Dongfang Jinxing and Dongfang Yinxing break out in a cold sweat. Yeah, wasn't Mingyao's lesson enough? The deaths of Dongfang Cha and Dongfang Song had caused the Dongfang family to suffer in silence. If they really touched the important disciples of the Heavenly Island Project that the Everyday and Everyday sect had cultivated, no one would stand up for them, even if they were to be exterminated. Father, if it really is that important disciple of the Everyday and Everyday sect, are we just going to endure it? Dongfang Yinxing asked, a little depressed. Naturally, we can't just let it go like this. When we reach the peak of the late stage of the heaven stage, then we will go to the Everyday after Sun sect to ask for an explanation. We can leave the important disciple alone, but the Everyday after Sun sect must pay the price. Dongfang Badeo said, That's fine. What if it's not? Dongfang Yinxing asked. If not, then it's simple. When you get there, just kill him. Dongfang Badeo said faintly, We don't dare to find trouble with the Everyday and Everyday sect now, but an ordinary disciple outside, we can kill him. All right. Dongfang Yinxing nodded and turned to Dongfang Jinxing. Big brother, quickly investigate the identity of the kid with Su Shirhan. If there's nothing, I'll go kill him. I know. I will go and investigate. Dongfang Jinxing nodded. Out of Dongfang Badeo's room, Dongfang Jinxing dialed Feng Tianhu's phone. To investigate who was around Su Shirhan, no one was easier than Feng Tianhu. After all, he knew more about Su Shirhan than the Dongfang family. This time, Dongfang Huashuan didn't contact Dongfang Xiaotsue but Feng Tianhu. He was afraid that Dongfang Xiaotsue would leak the news to Feng Tianlin. Hello. Feng Tianhu picked up the strange number, wondering who was calling. Mr. Feng Tianhu? I am Dongfang Jinxing from the Dongfang clan. Dongfang Jinxing introduced himself. Ah, greetings, young Master Dongfang. Feng Tianhu was a little excited. He didn't think that the Dongfang family, which he wasn't familiar with, would call him. One had to know that the Dongfang family was Dongfang Xiaotsue's family. Even if they didn't like Su Shirhan and wanted to deal with her, they wouldn't do anything to harm Feng Tianlin. But this time, Feng Tianhu was a little puzzled. Why was Dongfang Jinxing looking for him? Feng Tianhu, there is a bodyguard around Su Shirhan, and I hope that you can investigate the identity of this bodyguard as soon as possible. Otherwise, it will be difficult for us to deal with Su Shirhan. Dongfang Jinxing said, Oh, Su Shirhan's bodyguard? Isn't it Feng Sanhuang? He's just a mystic class master. How can it be difficult to deal with? Feng Tianhu was slightly stunned and then said, You mean the matter of the Dark Palace before? But didn't the Grand Elder of the Dark Palace already leave? She left, but... Dongfang Jinxing changed the topic and said painfully, I believe that you will know soon, so I won't hide it anymore. Our Dongfang family, the master with the strength of the peak middle stage of the heaven class, is also dead. The matter is like this. Dongfang Jinxing told the story to Feng Tianhu. Although it was a little shameful, he wanted Feng Tianhu to take it seriously and work hard to investigate. Dongfang Jinxing could only tell the truth. What, you mean? Su Shirhan colluded with the master disciples of the Everyday and Everyday sect? How is that possible? Feng Tianhu was shocked. He knew how powerful the Everyday and Everyday sect was. They were so powerful that even the Ice Palace and Snow Valley didn't dare to mess with them, let alone an ancient Feng family. Nothing is impossible. The truth is right in front of us. Dongfang Jinxing said, Feng Tianhu, you don't need to be afraid. You don't need to do anything. You just need to investigate this person's background. Leave the rest to me. Okay, I understand. Feng Tianhu gritted his teeth and nodded. Although investigating the Everyday and Everyday sect made him very scared, it was just a covert investigation and not a direct action, so it was fine. Young Master Dongfang, then wait for my news. Okay, then I'll wait for your call. Dongfang Jingxing hung up the phone and couldn't help but shake his head. He could tell that Feng Tianhu was scared. He felt disdain in his heart. With this kind of courage, he wanted to compete for the Feng family's master? On the second day after Dongfang Burua left, Lin Yi's villa returned to its usual peace. No one came to the door again. It seemed like Dongfang Burua gave up just like that. But with Lin Yi's understanding of the Dongfang family, it seemed like they wouldn't give up so easily. After all, they sent so many masters to investigate Dongfang Jian's death. But what surprised Lin Yi was that the ancient Dongfang family had a lot of Heaven Stage masters. In just a few months, 5 Heaven Stage masters, Dongfang Burua, Dongfang Jian, Dongfang Cha, Dongfang Song, and Dongfang Chong, died one after another. If they could still send Heaven Stage masters, then their family was really rich. The next morning, a white BMW X5M stopped in front of Lin Yi's villa. Lin Yi, who had been on guard against Dongfang Burua's visit, naturally noticed the car. Originally, Lin Yi thought it was Han Jingjing's car. After all, it was exactly the same as Han Jingjing's car. But when he looked at the license plate, Lin Yi was slightly surprised. The license plate was from Yanjing City, and it was an unfamiliar number. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.